except I didn't format the window properly. There we go. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully this doesn't go as long as Titanic. Like last week. I'm Ashley. That's AJ. That's Owen. And we'll get into the next bit of the stuff. So I guess the TLDR is we're going to discuss Oscars related stuff. Obviously, the shortlist came out a few hours back. Plus, we've got other bits pertaining to WGA eligibility and probably a few other notes. And then we'll get to Critics' Choice nomination reactions as well. So
I have a
with the
I have a very brief anecdote of why I chose the order. Where I was like, we need to start with the actual Oscar stuff before we get to Critics' Choice,
yeah.
because a lot of people, like, their priorities are a little out of whack. And I know you shouldn't be like mean or aggressive to anybody. This is anybody I was talking to, like, personally, so I wasn't like aggressive with anybody about this because that would be dumb. But with that being said, um, I saw a comment on like another forum that was just it's those annoying comments you always see around this time. I can't remember who they were talking about, but they were talking about a contender that had gotten into Globe but not Critics' Choice. And the person's very confident comment was, well, that person took a big blow because even though they got into Globe, they didn't get into Critics' Choice. So half the things so far they need to get an Oscar nomination they don't have. Now, like I said, I feel like when we were first getting into like award stuff, whenever that was for any of us, we all had those moments where we didn't quite know what we were talking about at the time.
For sure.
It's the confidence in which people speak and say things like that that really gets under my skin. So it's like, I just want it to be known that Critics' Choice is probably one of the least important things. And like I said, like every now and then one person will come through, like America Ferrara we brought up already. Like every like few years or so, there'll be somebody that only gets Critics' Choice and then somehow works their way in. But looking at this lineup, I don't see there's so many people who are like already pretty in this or have already shown up before that I don't think Critics' Choice is going to do that this year.
Yeah, I was just getting I think it was the Satellite Award nominations, just, personally and whatever for their things. And I think their supporting actress lineup is exactly the same as I think everything else so far. There's seems to be continuity in that. So all those people that are hoping that Ariana Grande's falling out of contention, no, it's she's still there.
Yeah, Wade Barrett needs to talk to you immediately.
And it's also just that thing of, it's so funny when people speak confidently at this stage, because at least as far as the acting categories go, without SAG and BAFTA, we still don't have anything.
No.
Like, yeah, we have Globe and Critics' Choice, but we don't have anything.
Nope.
So I just want to get that out there.
It's that long word I bring up every single year, and I'm like a broken record every single time. Visibility. That is the only thing you have right now.
Like I said, maybe the person that said this is just new to this.
Possible.
In which case, they'll get there. I hate how I hate how that sounds.
Yeah.
I wish it didn't sound so, oh, people are stupid and we're geniuses. But yeah, it's like I said, it's the false confidence that's really annoying.
See, the thing is, we don't call each other experts either to try to get ourselves over. We literally are just doing the same thing that everyone else is doing, just trying to shoot fish in a barrel to try to predict something. And if we're right, we're right. If we're wrong, we're wrong.
Let's say you can't be an expert at a guessing game. You can make educated guesses based on previous shows, but even then, you're still gonna fuck up somewhere.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Certainly, the only notable thing that came through visibility is from satellites is Nosferatu at least getting an ensemble recognition, and also I would say kind of from out of nowhere compared to what we've seen so far with the previous two. They actually gave a nomination to Lily Rose Depp for Nosferatu as well.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that pop up every once in a while too.
I've watched a couple of Nosferatu Q&As, and it seems like quite a few people are singling her out. Interestingly, but which is pretty unexpected.
I was bored today, like I am on the regular, and I was looking around for the shortlist for like seemingly 12 hours. I know it wasn't, but it felt like that in my head. I'm sure Ashley can feel the same thing. Needless to say, I was running across these pop-ups every once in a while, and you get bored, and you're like, okay, fine, I'll look at it. I want to see what you think. I mean, maybe I don't care, but I just want to see, like, what do you think is a snub? What do you think that? And Lily Rose Depp's name pops up. And it's like, oh, this is going to shock the world. And I was like, See, the thing is, the things that are going to, quote unquote, shock the world are all things that people that have been following the races are like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense why that happened. Demi Moore getting in for Best Actress is not going to shock the world when it happens. At this point, Margaret Qualley getting nominated for Best Supporting Actress is not going to shock the world when it happens if you are paying attention to the race. No matter if it is early precursors or it's when we actually get down to the nitty-gritty, there's a reason why people are saying this to be, oh my God, it's going to blow the world up. No, if you're paying attention, everything makes sense. You may not think it does at the time, but if you really think about it, you're like, oh yeah, I get why this happened. There's no surprises or shocks anymore because somebody somewhere predicted them.
But even when there is shocks, it's one that like if you look at like, mainstream coverage of award season, people they don't know enough to point this out. Like when I remember the lack of surprise from like the mainstream when Jackie Weaver got in for Silver Linings Playbook, even though that was out of fucking nowhere. Lakeith Stanfield, obviously, it not only came from out of fucking nowhere, was in the category nobody had him in.
Absolutely.
Literally nobody could have predicted that. But it's not high profile enough that was like seen as a big deal. Or
Sure.
if you want another like kind of off to the side random one, if you can call it that, The Worst Person in the World, an original screenplay.
That is very good.
That was out of nowhere. Like I said, all of these shocks, like I kind of went into this when I went in the opposite direction of Grande you guys were just talking about.
It's fair.
But yeah, just the way that shocking things are seen is, yeah. So I guess we can get into this.
Before we start, I just want to go ahead and just mention a couple things about a couple movies. It won't take long because obviously I'm not long-winded. AJ talked about seeing Flow last week. Flow's phenomenal. Fantastic movie. Love watching animals on boats. That's enjoyable. I thought that was fun. There's no dialogue whatsoever, and they're acting like animals and not like they're voiced by some famous person or unfamous person, depending on what level of pop culture you're at right now.
This year's Robot Dreams.
I didn't see Robot Dreams, so I can't say that. You can because you saw it, but I never got to catch
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Right. It's phenomenal. It's great, and in a perfect world, it deserves to win all the animated Oscars without question. But The Wild Robot exists. It's still fantastic. But if I had to put the two against each other, I'd pick Flow every single time. Honestly. And I really like The Wild Robot a lot, but Flow is just phenomenal. And not enough people are going to get to see it. It got more showings were added this week, which was great because I only had 2 showings last week in my theater. And my theater is at Disney Springs. So needless to say, it makes sense that it's a high traffic theater. Plus, also, I'm taking advantage of the Secret Movie Series or AMC Screen Unseen, or in this case, Regal's Mystery Movie Monday. They all were the same thing because they got the rating wrong. Everybody was thinking it was going to be rated R. A lot of people were thinking we'd get to knock off one of the Christmas movies. be it Nosferatu or Complete Unknown or Baby Girl. Yeah, we got a Christmas movie, all right. So I got to see The Fire Inside last night, and I see that it did really well when it came to nominations. It did decently Gotham because it got Brian Tyree Henry in at Gotham, which is great, and Ryan Destiny's fantastic. She got a Spirit Awards nomination for her role, and the cinematography is great. Being a former Michael Moore market, it was really entertaining to see Flint, Michigan again brought into the world. And the story is fantastic. It is a very well done story that once you try to get what you think is the goal, the best part is when you achieve that goal and you realize it's not exactly what you thought it was going to be. And that's pretty much where the story kind of like forks a little bit and it goes in a different direction. It's very well done. Rachel Morrison did a great job of directing it, and Barry Jenkins did a great job of writing it. And when it comes out in theaters on Christmas, go check it out. Definitely worth your time.
Yes. If we're doing this, I guess I should mention that I saw Maria.
Ah, okay.
Remember when, well, you know how Paula Lorraine has like this trilogy now, this historical
I was not
woman
aware until
trilogy
you told me this.
of
But
Jackie. Yes. It makes perfect sense when you know Jackie, Spencer, and Maria.
Maria, yeah.
Remember how when I saw Jackie, I said, "Wow, this is a really strong central performance from Natalie Portman." It's nice that he's kind of trying to be a little weird about it, not make an actual biopic, but just like a little fraction of it, and he throws in these little odd things about it that you don't typically see movies like this. And remember how I said basically the same thing about Spencer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Maria as well.
AdRinseRepeat.com.
Just, yeah. I mean, Angelina really gives it her all, despite the lip syncing. But I've never been somebody that's all worked up about that.
Sure.
Yeah. If you felt the same way about Jackie and Spencer, Maria's basically the same thing. I mean, as far as like thematic and like the overall vibe and feel goes, it's kind of a perfect trilogy in consistency. So, good on you for that, Paula. That's about it. So,
I've been caught off guard by the National Film Registry announcement because they've just announced, the films that are going into the preservation thing. There's some student films, things like that. Common Thread Stories from the Quilt, which is documentary. Coco's Earth Control, which is an animated short subject. Chelsea Girls, which is just listed as an experimental film. Thanks, Andy Warhol. You're just experimental now. And also Annabelle Serpentine's Dance from 1895. So we're going vintage. But in terms of the other stuff, this is a mix. And when we get to the two that stand out, or I guess three, because they're pretty close to each other, we'll get to it. So briefly, the ones that made it in this year is American Me, Angels of Dirty Faces, Beverly Hills Cop, Compensation, Dirty Dancing, Ganja and Hess, Invaders from Mars, Miracle Worker, My Family, My Own Private Idaho. Now starts the interesting bit, especially a couple of them for AJ. No Country for Old Men, Powwow Highway, Pride of the Yankees, The Social Network, Spy Kids, Star Trek 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Up in Smoke, Up Down Saturday Night, and Will. So yeah, Spy Kids is just important to cinema as Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Social Network.
Well, now that Texas Chainsaw's been brought up, my question is when you said Invaders from Mars, is that the 50s version or is that Tobe Hooper's remake?
No, it's the 1953 one.
That's what I thought until you said Texas Chainsaw. And I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Also, when it said Will, I was like, wait, the stupid, horrible histories William Shakespeare thing? And then, it's from 1981. Like, it is not the same thing. And of course, Cheech and Chong is officially in the National Film Registry.
I mean, this is getting ahead of ourselves, but this is something that came across Google today when I was surfing around. Jackass the movie is officially going to get a Criterion.
Well, it's on the Criterion channel. I don't know whether it's getting
That's
a
what I
doo-doo.
saw. I saw that. That was a post today.
Are you sure that wasn't a joke post like that April Fool's Day where they did the Kindergarten Cop cover?
I don't think so.
I know, as I say, I know it's going to be airing on the Criterion channel itself. I'm not sure in what capacity it's actually.
I mean, I've said in the past, there's a video on this channel. I have respect for the Jackass franchise.
Oh God, same here.
That's just something I can't quite picture that though.
Because you said Criterion, I had to look at the releases, and they actually brought out the March list, and again, it's a pretty eclectic list. So we got Wages of Fear, Thief, which I feel must be a re-release.
Yeah.
I want to say Godzilla versus Biolante. Charlie Chaplin's Woman of Paris, I think. It's listed as Charles Chaplin. That's confusing me. Choose Me, and Gene Hackman's Night Moves, or Arthur Penn, I guess, directing it, but not a bad list.
So, want to go into WGA? Or want to go into the short list? Or are we gonna finish with Critics' Choice? Or
Yeah,
AJ, you're in charge today.
I figure we'll start with WGA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because as usual, practically everything that's in most people's lists is ineligible for WGA.
That's right.
You bastards.
Yeah. So. Without so this is like WGA is hardly a precursor ever, so
no,
it definitely can't be with the amount of eligible.
So given that the ineligible list for adapted is Conclave, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Inside Out 2, The Outrun, The Room Next Door, Sing Sing, and The Wild Robot. I'm guessing that leaves Nickel Boys, Queer, A Complete Unknown, and 2 random ones.
I mean, Dune may be in contention.
That'd be nice.
Wicked, I think now has more of a chance to get a WGA.
I think Wicked's probably
Piano Lesson as well.
Yeah, if they want to go, I mean, I guess Night Bitch if they want to go super random.
Yeah.
That would be random.
But yeah, it is. Yeah, it is probably going to be more not as exciting as I initially thought. I don't know what, like I said, musicals and screenplay are such a weird combination to me. So Wicked honestly didn't even occur to me. But yeah, that's probably going to be one.
Then original.
All right. All We Imagine Is Light, The Brutalist, Dee Dee, A Different Man, Hard Truths, His 3 Daughters, I Saw the TV Glow, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, September 5, and The Substance are all ineligible, which leaves...
Yeah.
A Real Pain can be there.
Challenges, I guess, moves into contention.
Challengers has definitely got a shot now.
Saturday Night.
Saturday Night's got a for sure shot now.
Yeah, and then maybe on the fringe, Heretic might be in with a chance. The Apprentice.
The Apprentice would be nice.
Back in the day, I would have probably said Blitz, but I wouldn't these days. Now that people have seen it.
No, I think that's fallen off.
Is Baby Girl original? I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I think
Baby Girl's original.
So that seems like it's building some steam. I don't like seeing the substance denied of things, so that's
that's not good. And this isn't the last time we talk about that.
You know, like I said, obviously what these lists prove most is that WGA is really not much of a precursor. So
WGA and the USC script are about the same when it comes to ineligibility anyway, so neither of them really, again, visibility, that's about it.
Yeah, especially since the script is just one category with adapted.
Right.
And considering we mentioned All We Imagine As Light, and then transitioning into the shortlist stuff itself.
Mhm.
Let's label India this year as the "What the hell were you thinking?" submission of the year. After last year with Anatomy of the Fall getting snubbed for whatever that bloody bakery thing with Juliette Binoche.
I was gonna say they always. I don't know what they're trying to pull when they do that, but it never works out for them.
Yeah, because they selected La Pata Ladies instead, with the president of the Indian thing. I've got the notes here basically saying that it was too European in tone, whereas La Pata Ladies, which is a more traditional Hindu language film, aligned better with the jury's preferences. If this means India doesn't win an Oscar, does he get fired? You know, because I feel that this is like much different than last year in the sense that Anatomy of a Fall had a lot of buzz, but I don't think had it won major awards.
By now, surely. Before submission, maybe not.
Well, because obviously All We Imagine Is Light got the Grand Prix at the Cannes Film Festival, which is one of the
Yeah.
biggest you can get from one of the most recognised film festivals. So the fact that apparently that wasn't enough, and you see it making all these other, foreign language or, international feature releases on what we've already discussed, and I'm pretty sure, double checking when we get to it, I think it shows up in the critics.
Yeah, I just completely dropped the ball on that. Didn't Anatomy of a Fall win the Palm? Am I mistaken?
That sounds right.
Oh, last year is so far away already.
And that's a French film festival, so that's
As it
doubly
should be.
bad. I just realised.
See, we all fuck up. It's a thing.
We're gonna transition this into the shortlist then, correct?
Yeah, I think I'm. I honestly want to jump around on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Let's go down to like where visual effects and sound are.
I got 4 words. Where is the substance?
Well, actually, what's weird to me here is for visual effects, we have Alien, Better Man, Civil War, Deadpool, Dune, Gladiator, Planet of the Apes, Mufasa, Twisters, and Wicked. I'm trying to think if there's anything honestly, before I started thinking about what's missing from visual effects, honestly, the first thing that stood out to me here was how weird it is that Civil War is in visual effects but not sound.
That is very strange.
I would really like an explanation on that one.
We literally had a conversation for 5 minutes on here about how the sound in Civil War is probably the loudest sound I've heard in any movie, like, of recent memory.
And not loud for the sake of it, loud clearly for authenticity.
Oh, 100%.
And, as I mentioned last week, Conclave has got a great sound mix, creating a great atmosphere, and that doesn't get any recognition either. We might as well go through the sound list.
So is there anything missing from visual effects that's like wild?
I mean, they didn't really seem to care for Furiosa.
Oh, yeah. The TLDR of that is they really didn't care. It gets 0.
Got nothing.
It's got nothing in the text, and I don't think it's got much chance in, the ones that we don't know about. I mean, maybe costume design might be the one glimmer of hope, but I don't think it'll make it in production design. Probably won't make it in editing or cinematography. So there's a chance that something that tech-wise is actually pretty impressive gets nothing, but somehow Joker's good enough for sound.
And so you would think production design and costume design would probably be givens for Furiosa, but it makes you second guess it when you see what's happened here. like how
We
they.
actually-
I mean, I know we're dealing with like different branches and everything, but still, it's interesting.
Do we have? We won't have short lists for production design and costume design, will
No,
we?
we never do.
I think these are all the short lists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Okay.
are the two that apparently they just like to keep their cards close to their chest.
We basically have to wait for the guilds for that.
And we
Which-
determined that 1, 2, 3, potentially 4, maybe 5 of these feature apes in one way or another.
Yes.
Mhm.
Apes or monkeys, whatever you want to call them.
Accurate.
It's like Better Man's whole concept. There's like the monkeys that he fights in Gladiator, Planet of the Apes. Presumably, I'm pretty sure Rafiki's in Mufasa.
Yeah.
And surely many others. And we had the whole flying monkeys debate about Wicked last time we were here.
I
We
mean,
just
there
can't
could
determine
be
that we
there
have a
could be
monkeys
monkeys somehow
entire list.
in the tornado. You never know. Highly doubt it, but you never know.
So going on to sound, which we kind of touched on, a lot of music. A lot of music here.
As it should be.
Alien, Blitz, A Complete Unknown, Deadpool, Dune, Amelia Perez, Gladiator, Joker, Wicked, The Wild Robots. Are you kind of like, we don't do this until much later, but do you like immediately do mental predictions as soon as you see the lists?
Yeah, for the most part.
I mean, a little. You know, it's again. I'm sort of. To me, it was more. I was expecting Conclave here, just because of how good the mix is and
Yeah.
Civil
Conclave
War.
should definitely.
It's more. It's more a case as well as like they make it in, whereas I don't remember much of. As you say, because it's just the music. I don't notice that with something like Joker or Wicked. And some of the sound mix with like Amelia Perez is weird because on the infamous penis to vagina clip, which I don't want to be the meme of the season, but I feel like it could be. Although to be honest, it might just be Get to the Club from Megalopolis, and which that'll be the only time it'll be mentioned in anything to do with awards, apart
okay
from
with that.
probably the Razzies, but we don't cover them. Some of the sound mix at the start of that song, it sounds like it's recorded on like a blooming this mic I've got here on a giant set as they make their way through the corridors to discuss, you know, the sex change process and whatever. It was like when I saw the clip I was like, I can't understand what that. I had to go back 4 times to try and work out what was said because the sound. And even the bit where it sounds like, whether it's on purpose or not, but Saldana's character being maybe off key, like not, you know, her voice wavering on the bit, but they decided to leave it in or something. It was like, what?
So saying it was recorded on Kevin McAllister's Talk Boy.
Sounds about right, yeah. For that one bit, but yes.
I don't know why my head went that direction, but it did. And
Hey,
now live where everybody can hear.
it's this season. Home Alone 2 is very relevant.
Abso-freaking-lutely it is.
Well,
Hi, Blitz. Nice to see you pop in for a second. Steve McQueen, where'd you go wrong?
you said that the way Billy Madison says, Carl, good to see you.
King of Irrelevance. Owen.com.
Yeah, it's either gonna be like, you know, battle movies or music movies, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
Again, where's the substance? But I'm going to say that about anything.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was saying that about, you know, the ineligibility at WJ, which obviously doesn't matter.
Sure.
I don't really feel like the substance really lost out today in Shortlist because makeup was the one that seemed the most direction it was headed. Like, I don't really.
I think visual effects, it has a really good reason to be here.
What's interesting about a movie like The Substance, though, is trying to figure out where makeup and visual effects separate a lot of the time.
Certainly.
So, which is another reason why we just fucking love The Substance.
Which I think is why, in terms of makeup and hair, do you want to run through the list before I get to my discussion point on it?
Word makeup and hair now.
Here we are. There's some very interesting choices in here, and a sort of out of nowhere choice. I don't know how many people know what this movie is, but I know what this movie is. We've got The Apprentice, Beetlejuice, A Different Man, Dune, Emilia Perez, Maria, Nosferatu, The Substance, Wicked, and that movie where Billy Zane plays Brando.
Waltzing with Brando. If that makes it in the 5, that's going to be outstanding. Considering,
I mean, once again, when I say you look at the short list and you immediately start making mental predictions, even if you don't want to, I feel like I know what the 5 might be, and that's not one of them. But I also kind of don't want to underestimate the randomness this category goes in sometimes. Because if you've seen just that still image of, because I mean, Billy Zane already kind of looks like him without makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone once you see him in the Vito makeup that this still that's going around has shown.
But yeah, the thing I've always seen in terms of Nosferatu, and why I think it makes it in for makeup and hair, is people forgetting that Skarsgård is in this film. Because of the amount of makeup and everything that is on him to portray Nosferatu, it's like, that looks nothing like Skarsgård. Even with even with it, you could sort of tell facially that it was Skarsgård in terms of how he looked. There is so much prosthetics and everything on him in Nosferatu that it literally is a case of you've really got to pay attention to even get a chance of knowing that it's him.
I've also heard the voice is really wicked too, in a great way.
And we don't mean Wicked Part 2. Oh,
yeah,
sorry, hang on. Wicked Going Home.
I caught my word choice right after it came out. And
I
like, I should have used another adjective.
It's AJ is bringing out his inner Bostonian right now by calling something wicked.
I kind of want to say.
Well, I mean, because he's also an evil character. He's a wicked character, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say, arguably, it's more makeup maybe than hair. Year.
Every year I say they need to split up. I know we don't need more categories, but we need to split up the categories because some of these are shoo-ins for makeup and some of these are shoo-ins for hair. It's just that middle ground that actually covers both doesn't always get nominated.
And especially when you have, people being, as crazy adjusted as they are in A Different Man.
Yes.
And Dune and Nosferatu and Substance. It feels like, and I guess to some extent maybe Wicked, it's more like there needs to be a VFX makeup sort of hybrid. Like acknowledging those that sort of do the work to make people not look like themselves, as opposed to, because I'm guessing, if I look back, if I get the list, I'm guessing if they did have they would have had the category then. Makeup and hair probably went to Elephant Man back in the 80s, I'm guessing.
That sounds very...
It was... Wait, what are we talking about? Which award?
Elephant Man for makeup and hair.
You mean Oscar-wise?
Yeah.
It was the Elephant Man happened without that category,
Oh
and then
yeah, because then they brought it in the year after.
Yeah, for American Werewolf in London.
It's the Dark Knight rule. Yes.
It was the combination of, oh, we should have awarded the Elephant Man with that, and also, holy shit, have you seen American Werewolf in London? We need to give that an Oscar.
Yeah.
Literally, the one thing I remember from Horror Makeup is talking about Rick Baker for the longest time about A-Will and everything. So,
I like I said, I know we're not doing this yet, but I just have to say this because it just wants to burst out of my mouth for some reason. You were talking about a lot of the focus being on makeup and prosthetics, more so than hair. Is there anybody that does not think the 5 are going to be a different man, Dune, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked?
unless we get a surprise taking that 5th slot, that sounds very logical.
That's like, my mind just like immediately went to that, and I feel like I'm going to be locked in until we do that final prediction video.
I mean, to be fair, I'd throw an outside dark horse to The Apprentice. But I don't know how willing they are to do any nomination of The Apprentice in any category, honestly, at the Oscars. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I feel like the roundtables kind of blew the lid off that because it was really disappointing when the Hollywood Reporter came out, because it was the LA Times did their actor roundtable first, and then the Hollywood Reporter one just came out like today, and 4 of the 6 actors that were at the LA Times one are just at the Hollywood Reporter one too. So it's probably just going to be the same conversations, just with Daniel Craig and whoever the 6th one was at the Hollywood Reporter. So where was I going with this? Oh, I was going to bring up, I was saying, because Stan was there, Sebastian Stan was at both those roundtables and talked about both movies extensively.
Nice.
So it's like out there now. So, and I was also going to mention, I can't remember if this is a conversation we had on the phone or if we were live, about Mike Marino being the guy that did A Different Man, which I did not know. Mike Marino is the guy that does Colin Farrell's Penguin makeup.
I think we had that conversation on here a week ago. I could be wrong, but
so with that and the Coming to America sequel, Mike Marino's already got a track record at this point. So,
fair.
As far as nominations go, but
yeah, that sounds like a logical 5 if that's the direction they want to go.
Yeah, it's the 5 that makes the most sense to me.
I see that.
The only ones I haven't seen are Nosferatu and Waltzing with Brando, but I still feel like we've got their vibes as far as makeup goes. We haven't even, like, is Skarsgård's look public yet? I know people have seen the movie now, but
the trailer has the silhouette, but we haven't actually seen, unless you've seen the movie, you haven't seen the full package yet.
And isn't there one picture that's like a close-up of his eyes, and that's it?
Yes.
Yeah. So most of us still don't know, but I feel like we can safely assume.
And I can pretty much guarantee that's not a movie I'm going to be getting a trailer for this coming weekend, given what I'm watching on Friday. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to see that trailer again until never, actually. I'll see it when I see the movie on December 27th. I have a long movie day that day.
All right. Where do we want? What's that?
As we all do.
Do we want to do some music categories?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Let me get it out.
I had something to say about this category that's a little snarky, but I'll say it anyway.
Go ahead.
Song?
Okay, song.
So for song, we've got Forbidden Road from Better Man, which I think we all figured.
Yep.
Hey, there's Blitz again.
Yep, hi, back.
Thanks for coming. You don't make it in the list. Probably.
But much to my happiness, Compress Repress actually made it here.
I feel it's
fantastic. I was I was just telling Owen the other day, it would be amazing to see that song performed live. I hope we get the opportunity, not just because I love the movie so much.
I think it's a really good chance at this point.
So there is always a movie, at least in the long list, and potentially does get nominated, that's in a music documentary that is not a documentary that's in the documentary shortlist. So we've got Elton John for that this time.
Yep.
We got those same two songs from Mela Perez. We've got Sick in the Head from Kneecap.
Yeah. Excellent.
I wasn't as big on Kneecap as the rest of the panel, but I understand that this is good for Kneecap.
I mean, it's more the recognition of, like, considering how they also went through a whole government thing where they, during COVID, they were trying to get sort of benefits to help them as an act, and it sort of got turned them down, in which they thought was a racially profiled thing, and it got accepted again, which for some reason the previous government's minister that was behind it wasn't happy with. And like, okay.
I mean, come on, AJ. It's Irish CB4. It's not. There's no world we live in. The bad movie's not great.
We have been having the conversation for the 20 years plus that I've known you. We've been having the conversation that I do not like CB4.
I know you don't like CB4, but I do.
Well, we also have Beyond from Moana 2 and Tell Me It's You from Mufasa, which, if my understanding is correct, it's not Lin-Manuel Miranda and actual Lin-Manuel Miranda, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Moana 2 was so good in his eyes, he had nothing to do with it. Even though, considering that song that Dwayne sings...
Yep, there you go. Good.
It sounds 99% like You're Welcome, but somehow doesn't get a writing credit as like an acknowledgement of we based it off that song.
Literally and figuratively, Chihu is basically left on the cutting room floor of Hamilton. That's exactly what it reminded me of, honestly. And it was the only song I remembered from Moana 2. And it's not nominated, of course not.
And considering what I've seen from the reviews, considering the embargo also lifted today, dear Lord, why are you trying to do everything this Tuesday, damn it? It's getting as I expected. Well, sadly for Barry Jenkins, but also this is what happens when Disney goes, here's an indie director, do a big budget blockbuster. Oh wait, it's distinctly average according to critics. Who knew?
He has literally said he's never going to do another movie like that again. I just want to go back to normal movies. I don't want to do anything like this again.
I honestly, before anything else, I want Barry Jenkins to do another Criterion Closet video because his is fantastic.
I already watched a movie involving Barry Jenkins, but writing last night. So I'm doing that again on Friday in the Dolby Theater because I don't really see a reason to watch Mufasa outside of a Dolby Theater because it feels like it makes sense. It's going to feel really good next to Sonic Friday.
You got to wrap up those visual effects nominees, man. That's why.
If freaking Wallace and Gromit's the reason why I'm not boom covered on animated, I'm going to go insane. I watched Memoir of a Snail.
Considering the general appeal for Aardman across most of the world, I would have thought it will get a showing or two.
I hope so.
If it's got the momentum that it seems to be having.
I'll travel to see it if I have to. I never covered on the animated categories.
It'll be interesting to see Christmas Day whether it's the most viewed show of the day. Bearing in mind that there's God knows how much on that channel over the course of the day. You know, be it, I think Matilda the Musical's like the day after. I can't remember the full list, but there's, a Gavin and Stacey. God, so yeah, James Corden might be the most viewed thing on Christmas Day. But I'm willing to give it a chance because Gavin and Stacey's like one of the good things that he's done. But yeah, there's a lot. It's so much so that like the other channels are like, we're putting Home Alone 2 or, old movies. We're not bothering to put new content out because we know it's going to get massacred.
I guess we should finish the song list.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get to some more. This is a musical, but not a musical. It's actually animated, but what?
We got Piece by Piece. That's the Pharrell thing, right?
Mhm.
That's right.
We got Like a Bird from Sing Sing.
Yep.
Ashley, do you want to do the honors on this one?
Yeah, the journey from 688. Diane motherfucking Warren is still in the hunt, and so honestly, as it always I feel is now, as soon as you see a shortlist and Diane makes it in, it's like, so that's one of the 5 slots. So
Yeah.
now it's what the other 4 are. If she doesn't make it, I think it'll be the first time she's missed, like, in nearly a decade, maybe?
Once her song from 4 Good Days got in, that's where I was like, oh, okay, so we are doing this forever.
They gave her an honorary Oscar, and they still gave her a standard Oscar nomination that year as well. That is how passionate they are about her. At this rate, I swear, she's just going to do a song every year until she wins. And then it's like, I am retiring. Screw you all. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
And then we've got Out of Oklahoma from Twisters, Kiss the Sky from Wild Robot, and Harper and Will Go West from Will and Harper. I will just say, I have seen Blitz, Sing Sing, Twisters, and the Wild Robot. Don't remember those songs.
The only reason I think Twister's song makes it in here is, from what I remember from the list, it's the only thing for this award season that actually made it in the Grammys thing. Probably because it's a big. Probably because it's. I think Luke Combs, is it?
For which song?
Well, the snarky comment I was talking about, I was gonna make, was I'm kind of disappointed because I was already planning on snubbing Miley's song when we did our predictions, and they already did it for me.
Yeah.
That was one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's the Globes did that, obviously, but that wasn't going to go much farther. I did see where, I don't even think it occurred to me. Maybe we talked about this before and I tuned out, but the fact that so many fucking Disney stars were nominated at the Globes. Because wasn't it like Miley and Zendaya and Selena Gomez and Grande are all from Disney formerly?
Mm-hmm.
Ariana's from Nickelodeon, but I know where you're coming from.
I'm just waiting I'm waiting for Chapel Roan.
I know
Sabrina.
what you're talking about.
I'm waiting for Chapel Roan and Sabrina Carpenter like one year, and then this is the Disney Channel. This is the Disney Channel contenders.
No, actually, Luke Combs' song is the one that actually got snubbed.
Yeah, I'll briefly mention it here because we're getting into the music stuff. So, compilation soundtrack was, as I say, because it's usually a mix of this year and last year because of the way it is. So it's Color Purple, Deadpool and Wolverine, Maestro. Nice. Well done, Bradley Cooper. You got a Grammy nomination. Saltburn and Twisters. Then for score soundtrack, we have American Fiction, Challengers, Color Purple, Shogun, because it's just visual media, it's not just movies, and Doom Part 2 made it in. And yeah, for song, we have Love Will Survive from Tattooist of Auschwitz, which is again TV. It Never Went Away from American Symphony. Can't Catch Me Now from Hunger Games. Better Place from Trolls Band Together. And then, yeah, Ain't No Love in Oklahoma, which is different to Out of Oklahoma, which is Lainey Wilson.
Yep, which I mentioned a minute ago, which I don't know if you heard me, but I said that same thing when you were saying that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Because they both got... Because I never hear Oklahoma in the line of a title of a track. I was like, it's the same song, right?
The one we think we have to look out for here is the Kristen Wiig song. Because I see that pop up pretty much everywhere. Harper and Will Go West has a chance to get nominated for that. And I don't want to guarantee it, but I feel like it's very possible it's going to be one of the 5. But the question is, how much do they like Amelia Perez? Are they going to give it a double nomination? Are they going to nominate one? Are they going to nominate none? Do they like Sing enough to give it a nomination? Do they care about Moana? I highly doubt it, but you never know. Do they care about Elton John? I mean, there's a lot of questions when it comes to original song.
I said, I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying I'm holding out until more guilds, or any guilds at all, actually.
That's fair.
To see if Amelia Perez is as loved by the industry as it has been by Globes and Critics' Choice. Because let's be real, a lot of Critics' Choice is Oscar nomination predictions. That's what it always is.
Yeah, of course.
So they're not even like I said, I was almost against even doing this video because Critics' Choice matters so little. But we had the short list, so this is what we're actually here for.
To some extent, I want to say the Camino one is the upset of the two. Because if you look at the EP that they put out, which is the selection, so i.e. the ones that clearly they sort of, El Mal is in there. And I feel with the significance of that scene in the film, that has the stronger gel, I think, than Selena Gomez's bit. Because it's not really, I get, it's one of the longer songs on the track on the track list at like being nearly 4 minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Roughly about the same time as El Mal, but
a lot. I wasn't timing them or anything, but as far as how they felt, it feels like a lot of the songs in Amelia Perez are not that long.
No, a fair few of them are sort of a minute to 2 minutes. You have got a few which are a bit cheating because they're listed as part 1 and part 2. So if you put them together, they still are in the sort of 3-4 minute range. That being said, Beatificación, if you include the 2 parts, is like 7 minutes and 20 seconds. That's the lengthiest one.
By the way, Owen, that was also perfect timing when you did the 2 thumbs up and the fireworks went off around you.
Yes.
That image is what a lot of Amelia Perez's musical numbers look like.
Well, once a theater chain, I don't care which one, decides it wants to give me a screening, I will get to see that for myself.
I mean, I wouldn't be... It's
Looking
getting
at you,
to the point
January.
with how many categories it is in.
Possible.
It probably has a chance of... I know it won't match or get the record of nominations and whatever, but it feels like it's easily one that will probably get double figures if the techs pull it through.
Or
Especially,
it could crash and burn, or it could do something in the middle, which doesn't correlate to either one.
anybody who's seen Amelia Perez is giggling at what you just said, and that's all I'm saying.
There's a thing about me watching movies in a theater only, that I lose being able to see these movies before everyone else.
Should we go on to score?
Yes.
Alien. Interesting that Alien has shown up more than once. Alien, Baby Girl, Beetlejuice. Interesting.
That's a strange one.
Blink twice out of nowhere.
That's cool.
Oh, look, it's Blitz again. The Brutalist, of course. Challengers.
Yeah.
Yes. Conclave. Yeah. Amelia Perez again. The Fire Inside.
Yes.
Gladiator. Congratulations, Kevin Costner. It wasn't all for nothing. You got shortlisted for score. Good for you, buddy.
By the way, Kevin, where's part 2? You said it was coming out this year.
So apparently,
you are on the same level now as Remy Hamlin's The Strangers. Where's part 2?
Actually, I was thinking about Blumhouse's version of The Wolfman. That was supposed to come out this year too.
I don't want to like make fun of. I love Costner's ambition. I don't want to make fun of it, but sometimes it's easy. Inside Out 2, Nosferatu, The Room Next Door, Sing Sing, The 6888, Wicked, The Wild Robot, and Young Woman in the Sea. Is that the Daisy Ridley swimming movie?
That is the
Yes.
movie that I could have watched one day, and I was like, nope.
I believe at some point during the last season, Ashley brought that movie up and explained it, and I think the words I used were, "That sounds aggressively boring."
That sounds logical.
And I never saw that movie, and it's been out since like May or something. I still think it sounds aggressively boring. I really shouldn't say that if I haven't seen it, but it is what it is. Anything like that we didn't point out on the way that's interesting here? It's interesting that Elfman's here.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that actually a lot. I don't think he's getting in. I just like it that he's here. Like I said, I'm rooting for Reznor and Ross all day.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else? A lot of these I feel like we're kind of not so much blind on, but deaf on, I guess you'd say. So
I do find it interesting that Wicked made it in for original score, given how much of the musical already exists. And how much of the original score stuff is basically just variations of what we have from the score, which is always a bit that's confusing.
See, I feel that's going to be a nomination on Oscar morning that everybody that is not a fan of the film are just going to be like, oh, they just wanted to give it everything. That's the reason why it got nominated. It's the same thing Ashley just said right there. It's basically just taking from existing content. How is that original? But they create different rules every year, and we don't know exactly what their criteria actually is because we're not in the guilds.
Just to acknowledge the genius that is Nicholas Britell. Somebody was saying that they were watching some orange juice commercial and they started tearing up because for the commercial they're using the score from If Beale Street Could Talk. So
nice.
I mean, he is brilliant. He's definitely one of the best working right now.
I mean, I can't listen to the Black Parade without thinking of Clerks, and it still upsets me like 10 times over now with that, just thinking about that opening scene.
I'm just double checking. Oh god,
Blake Twice being on here makes me happy. It's glad people actually remember to exist.
Britell drew the short straw as well. His only film this year is bloody Mufasa. Because when I hear the bloody music for the commercials, I'm like, what's this shit? And I'm like, wait, this is a Nicholas Britell? What went wrong?
Honestly, weirdly enough, Queer's kind of missing here too, but I feel like they were not going to nominate Reznor and Ross for multiple things, potentially, so they went with a lot more high-profile challengers instead, which is a lot more of a solid soundtrack than Queer's is.
Can I just say how much, now that you brought Queer up, and my love of challengers, can I just say how thrilled I was that the first directors on directors conversation was between Guadagnino and Villeneuve?
Jesus.
And most of it was them talking about Chalamet and Zendaya like proud dads. They literally, I think they literally use that phrasing. They feel like proud fathers watching Chalamet and Zendaya in each other's work.
So basically, that for you is like me getting a directors on directors with Kevin Smith and Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah, well, the problem with that though is that most of the directors on directors lineup is dog shit. They reached way out there to put that together, and I don't know why so many people were either unavailable or what. But it's a pretty it's not an exciting list. So they really peaked at Guadagnino and Villeneuve.
I guess for my sake of argument, now and the way life goes, it would be Kevin and Greta.
I have nothing against Zoe Kravitz.
Okay.
But she's there.
Again, people remember Blink twice this.
I mean, think about all the contenders we have. Like the thing that rubbed me the wrong way the most is Coralie's not involved.
That's wrong.
That's somebody I really want to hear from.
Coralie and Emerald Fennell would be a nice one.
Yeah. I can't remember who Kravitz is paired with. I think it was somebody else that's like barely in this. I don't know, but that's a little detour.
I just noticed the Mufasa soundtrack is only about 16 minutes long.
Hell?
Seven. Well, I think because they're splitting off it's bloody confusing. You have the 7 tracks, which I guess are the songs, which are the Lin-Manuel Miranda stuff. And then you have 31 deluxe edition additional tracks, which is the score. So it's like, they don't even want to acknowledge the score exists. It's just, here's an EP. I mean, you know, at a length of 16 minutes, it's more like an EP. And then only if you get the deluxe edition do you actually get what would argue be an album. Also, I find it weird that they decided to only announce this past April that Lin-Manuel Miranda was writing the songs, which seems to me implies, did the songs just get added in the last 6 months? Or did they just wait 2 years to go, Lin-Manuel Miranda's doing the songs for the soundtrack? Which is weird. Because there ain't much turnaround time to get it done.
Let's go up to the documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
Totally blind on this. Well, actually, no. Go ahead.
I wrote down little things here just to say what's what here.
Yeah.
And I guess we can talk about what sounds interesting, because a few of these are accessible, but I don't feel like a shitload of them are.
Should I bring up the snub, quote unquote? Considering how every other list I've seen for documentaries included the Superman Christopher Reeve film.
Yeah, the word Superman is a curse in documentary.
But yeah, you know, the fact for
but once again, I feel like if anybody pays attention, if anybody pays attention to award season, particularly in documentary, pretty much anything getting snubbed in documentary technically isn't a surprise anymore.
No.
It's like, oh, so that's the one, and then you move on. So, like I said, I just wrote down just a little bit of what these are. So we have the BB files, which is corruption charges against the Israeli prime minister through leaked interrogation videos. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, could be good.
Black Box Diaries, which is a journalist who conducts an investigation into her own sexual assault, aiming to bring the prominent perpetrator to justice. Her pursuit evolves into a significant legal case, revealing the antiquated judicial and societal frameworks in Japan. That sounds very interesting.
Not starring Carey Mulligan.
This one is interesting to me, but this one's actually interesting in a number of ways, but one in particular really stands out to me. There's Dahomey, which is about jeez, this fucking word gets me. Repatriation, which is when you return something to its country, like treasure or money or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is also in international.
Yep.
This movie, unless I saw something, unless there's some mass typo going on, this movie is barely 1 hour long. It's 1 hour and 8 minutes long. Is that correct?
I don't know, but I have seen it many places in other, like, before we got to actual awards and everything. I've seen it listed many places.
Yeah.
It's the one that jumped out at me immediately because oh yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that one. Didn't watch it, obviously, but
I mean, how kind of refreshing would it be if we had an award season movie that's only an hour long?
comes to my theater, that'd be wonderful. But then it would be trying to figure out where to put it. That'd be the problem.
And we have Daughters.
Wallace and Gromit's only about 70-something minutes, so we're close.
Daughters is a daddy-daughter dance with the fathers that are like in prison, and it's like part of a program.
I totally can imagine watching this in theater. Just by saying that.
I'm almost positive it's a Netflix documentary, and it definitely sounds like one.
Something I will be watching during the shortlist.
Okay, this one is interesting, and I'm curious how it works voting-wise. Is it Eno or Eno? I'm not sure how we're pronouncing this. It's about a musician.
Yep.
It's Eno. If it's about Brian Eno, it's Eno.
It's gotta be Brian Eno.
Yeah. The disclaimer here is the film uses a computer program to select footage and edit the film so that a different version is shown each time it is screened. How does that work?
Yeah, because how can you... Also, what happens when, let's say it wins and whoever making it wants to fucking release it on home media? Yeah.
Oh man, I wanted to watch the showing that was at 2 o'clock, not the showing that's at 4 o'clock.
Considering, blooming... Netflix has already got rid of God knows how many choose-your-own-adventure things because it's taking up too much space on their hard drives. Imagine the however many bloody versions that have to exist if they were to stream that on Netflix.
Then we have one called Frida. Guess who that's about?
Of course.
Well, I guess the difference here is that it's like almost personally being told because it's through like diaries and letters and essays and interviews. So that's the unique quality to it. Then we have Hollywood Gate, which is totally not what it sounds like.
I know what it sounds like.
Apparently, it's where it's the name of a CIA base that it was supposedly a CIA base at one point, and the Taliban have occupied it. So there's that. No Other Land is basically the front runner, right? It's the Israel and Palestine one, and it's winning a lot of things already.
I remember seeing that name pop up too.
If that and BB Files makes it in, that'll be interesting.
Then we have Porcelain War, which is Ukrainian artists choose to stay behind and find beauty amid the destruction. They show it may be easy to make people afraid, but it is difficult to destroy their passion for living.
Another one that's been showing up on a lot of the lists.
Then we have Queendom, which is a Russian artist doing performances, like public performances as activism. That looks pretty wild.
Yeah, it's sort of... To some extent, I want to say it's basically... What they do is very Pussy Riot-esque in that sort of thing.
Yeah, that sounds
I've actually seen that because it got shown as part of the BBC Storyville thing over here like about a month ago. It's a good documentary, especially with following on from Navalny and Pussy Riot and everything else that we've seen in terms of the stifling of allowing protest of any sort. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see it at least make it in the long list. If it doesn't, the short list. Even if it doesn't make it to the list of 5 when we get to it in a month.
Then we got this one that looks very touching. The Remarkable Life of Evelyn, is that how it's said?
I think so.
Where it's like a child that has since passed away, and then it turned out that he was like his parents thought that he just kind of lived a short life gaming, and then it turned out he had like through like game, I think it's specifically World of Warcraft, but like through gaming he had like a whole like he lived like a whole life through gaming, and his friends kind of put it out there. Something like that, I think. Then we have one we've heard of, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, which is the political machinations behind the 1961 assassination of Congo's leader, Patrice Lumumba. Sounds nominatable, right?
Yeah, it's another thing I can imagine watching in a darkened theater.
Sugarcane, which has also come up before, missing children at a school sparks they say a reckoning on a sugarcane reserve, or the sugarcane reserve as they call it.
Mm.
Then there's Union, which is the one with the Amazon workers, and Will and Harper, which is the Will Ferrell one. So
the one that Kristen Wiig's nominated for original song for.
Shortlisted.
Yeah, well,
let's not give Kristen Wiig.
I'm ahead of myself, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Kristen Wiig's already got one Oscar nomination. Let's not rush.
I don't want it to happen either, but I guess we'll see.
I feel like I'm betraying my fandom of Bill Hader that I don't care for Kristen Wiig, because there's so many cases where they've gone hand in hand in the past.
I mean, once again, not everybody, but people have given me flack before because I don't like Ryan Reynolds. And I'm such a Taylor
I have
Swift
no
fan.
idea what that feels like.
Yeah, I know. I'm preaching to the choir. Water's wet, 'tis the season. Continue.
Then we had, do we go to international?
Yes.
A lot of these look familiar.
Yeah, they do.
Some of these have already been mentioned, actually.
And it feels like they're logical choices for the 5, but international could throw you a curveball.
Yeah, something obvious is going to be snubbed, obviously. That tends to happen.
Yeah.
Was it A Hero from a few years ago? Where it was like, I thought it was like the best one of the nominees, and it was one of the ones that seemed the most likely to get in, and then the only one that, it was like the only major one that got snubbed for something else. I think that was when the Yak in the Classroom might have gotten in instead, maybe.
That sounds likely.
I might have years mixed up, but yeah. So we've got I'm Still Here from Brazil, which we've seen around a lot. It got that Globe nomination in actress.
Mm-hmm.
There's Universal Language from Canada, which is apparently like a surreal absurdist movie, which is an interesting choice.
Right.
We have Waves from the Czech Republic, which is I have the description here, but I still don't quite. The character joins a radio office to protect his brother, and he's forced to become a spy, and he helps journalists broadcast uncensored news, risking his life for the truth. Okay, makes more sense than I just glazed it. I had to actually read it. The Girl with the Needle, which is something that's been showing up a lot, and I believe was at Cannes this year. It was in the Palm competition.
Yeah.
Emilia Perez, obviously. See the Secret's Fig, obviously. Touch is like this sort of decades long, like, I guess, lost romance kind of thing, where he starts off like we see the characters young, and then like 50 years later or something.
Right.
It's probably non-linear if I had to guess. We got Kneecap. We've got Vermilio. Can anybody else say that without Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan saying Vermilio, or was that just me?
Coming out in January, so I mean that's something that I just recently saw today.
But we also have Flo.
Yes.
Flo potentially pulling another 4-letter movie that starts with FL that did animated and international before.
I think it's a good bet.
Armand, which is, I think that's the one with Renata Renzva.
Yeah,
A 6-year-old boy is accused of crossing boundaries against his best friend at elementary school. Almost sounds like Carnage a little bit.
A little bit.
From Ground Zero from Palestine, pretty sure that's a documentary.
Which is
And
notable because speaking of documentaries,
yep, Dahomey's the next one.
Back.
And from Thailand, How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies. Did I see correctly? This is like a really successful movie right now.
it's getting
This
a fair bit of recognition. Yeah, so
for the kind of movie it is, it's made kind of a shitload of money. And I believe it's on Netflix now as well. I think it is, or it's going to be. And from United Kingdom, we have Santosh, which also sounds interesting. I think it's her husband is a cop and then gets killed, and then she has to like replace him in the police force. That could be interesting.
yeah.
And
And the great thing is, it's all set in India.
Wow. So, AJ, you're not wrong when you make this statement. Apparently, How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies has grossed almost $80 million worldwide, the highest grossing Thai film of 2024, and the 11th highest grossing domestic film of all time. Yeah, that's a thing.
It makes perfect sense that How to Make Millions is in the go figure.
Yes.
All right, so we're just gonna right now we don't know anything about the shorts.
Nope.
If the shorts is like your jam, you'll want to come back when we're doing like prediction videos when we'll actually go into them and research them. And by the time we do predictions for wins, like right before the Oscars happen, we'll probably have seen a lot of them or most of them. So
every year, for those of you that have not been here before, and for those of you that are here, you know what I'm going to say before I say it. I watch all of the Oscar-nominated shorts. I go to AMC and see 2 of them, and then live action is end up going across town to go see them. So I may end up knocking out all 15 of them, so I'm able to talk about all of them by the time that we actually get to predicting the nominations.
I'm just looking through this Philippine stuff. Apparently, the film was the second most searched for film on Google, behind Inside Out 2. Which means How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies was apparently more interesting in terms of searches than Deadpool. And then the other one that stands out among all these other, Filipino films and whatever that are also in the list. Apparently, the Philippines' 8th most searched movie of last year was Saltburn.
You know, I don't doubt anything when it comes to Saltburn.
None of the other major blockbusters, just Deadpool, Saltburn, and Inside Out 2 are the only sort of Western films that made it in. Okay.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
You know when you hear about awkward family situations and awkward family talks people have to have at Thanksgiving?
I like where this is headed.
This Thanksgiving, I got to explain Saltburn to my sister-in-law. just from beginning to end.
Saltburn has one of the greatest vinyls in the history of ever, literally looking like bath water when you open it up.
Imagine if they went as far, because I know I've seen this with some sort of vinyl, where it's see-through, but it's basically, even though it's vinyl, it's actually got liquid inside of it.
Yeah, that's the Saltburn vinyl.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember whether it was something else.
It is transparent, and then when you tilt it to the side, it looks like it's bathwater.
Yeah.
Continuity be damned.
So, I mean, as far as titles go for these shorts, documentary has Chasing Rue, Death by Numbers, Eternal Father, I Am Ready, War, Incident, and Instruments of a Beating Heart, Keeper, Michaela's Voice, Letter to the World, Once Upon a Time in Ukraine, The Only Girl in the Orchestra, Planet Walker, The Quilters, C-31, Zoe Zephyr, a Swim Lesson, and Until He's Back.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of
Another
those.
Once Upon a Time gets recognized in the
Yeah.
awards category.
I am Ready Warden sounds like a prison one. I feel like there's a lot of prison documentary shorts. Am I imagining that?
I'm very intrigued about Seat 31, Zoe Zephyr, honestly.
I Am Ready Warden either sounds like somebody being released after decades in prison or somebody going to an execution.
Let me
With
quickly
either one of those.
search. Yeah. John Henry Ramirez is convicted of murder and sentenced to death in Texas, seeking redemption from his victim's son.
Oh, so he like did it. Yeah, because it's usually one of those. Oh, and then okay.
They actually stuck it on YouTube, so you can see it. So watch it now, because by the time it gets to nominations, it will get pulled. That always seems to be the case. Like, they show up beforehand, like, to get the recognition, and then as soon as they get the recognition, it's like paywall.
I'm not a fan of like butchering things when I don't know how to say them. I usually try to look up how things are pronounced if I can. Anybody want to take animated short?
Oh, au revoir, mon monde.
There's a few of them I'm not sure about.
Considering I think that translates to something along the lines of Goodbye World.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
And then we've got A Bear Named Watchtek, or Watek, I think it is. I don't know whether the J is silent, but the rest I think you're okay on.
Maybe one.
And we've got Beautiful Men, Bottle George, A Crab in the Pool. These are fun. I really want to know what these are.
Is Bottle George Curious George stuck in a bottle? You know.
So, okay, once again, without knowing anything about them at all, I implore you, Academy, nominate things that do not depress the living daylights out of people whenever you're trying to watch them all in succession.
Oh, you're asking a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
Can we get something for me to root for this year, please? And don't bore me to death or just confuse me. But that's, again, way.
Well, remember back in the day when we just had animated shorts of fucking making guacamole? When it was just like...
I mean, yeah, we laugh at a crab in the pool, but it's probably like a crab that's like on its last legs, like dying, just floating in its last moments or some shit. And it's
like the ABCs
I
of
need to check now. Oh wow!
We also have In the Shadow of the Cypress Magic Candy.
Oh god.
No.
A young adolescent Zoe is a ball of anger haunted by an intimate terror. Yep. God damn it.
Crabs in the pool.
Thanks, Canada.
Intimate terror, crabs in the pool. Don't go that direction, Canada, please.
Well, we also have In the Shadow. How are they going to corrupt a movie called Magic Candies?
Give it time, it will happen.
I think, yeah. Maybe Elephants, May, Origami. This one.
Oh yeah, Magic. Holy shit. In a good way. The other kids at the park never asked Dong Dong to play. That's okay, he plays marbles. One day he buys some candies instead. The first time he pops one of them into his mouth, his old sofa starts talking to him. It's Fear and Loathing! Yes!
Fear and Loathing. Oh my god. Yes, please. It's like how The Bad Guys is basically a Tarantino movie animated, so. The 21.
The 21, Wander to Wonder, The Wild-Tempered Clavier?
Yeah.
And Yuck with an exclamation point.
I made this movie about everything I don't like to eat.
Which isn't actually Yuck, it's Burk. Which I don't know what...
completely
I don't know what
different
language
from
that
live
is.
action short stuff.
Oh,
So
right.
does that just leave live action short and then we're done with shortlists?
Yeah.
The first 2 lines of the storyline for Yuck on fucking IMDb. Yuck! Couples kissing on the mouth for growth. This feels like Mean Girls. I know it isn't because I'm looking at it and whatever. But
I really did write this movie.
When people are about to kiss, their lips become all pink and shiny. The hell?
Sounds like something someone would say out loud, whether they were trying to or not. It's internal monologue basically being brought out for everybody to hear.
All right. So the first 2 are. Anybody want to take a stab?
Anuja and Cloda.
Okay. Then we have The Compatriot, Crust. I want to say Dovecote, but I feel like that's not right.
It could be Dovecote or Dovecot. I think it's like a Bath and Bath, north-south divide style thing.
Oh, either way, no matter what it's really called, we're going to call it Dovecote all season, and you know it. That's how it works around here.
We have Edge of Space. We have The Ice Cream Man, I'm assuming, which has nothing to do with Clint Howard, if I had to guess.
Probably not.
I'm Not a Robot. I'm assuming that's 15 minutes of somebody clicking those pictures.
I had to do that this morning, actually, a couple times. AJ knows.
The Last Ranger, Aline. The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent.
That's got to be a movie. That's why it's called
that. The Masterpiece, An Orange from Jaffa, Paris 70, and Room Taken.
You can't tell me Aileen is not literally a movie about an alien.
Oh, God. I mean, weirdly, I'm Not a Robot.
Yep.
You're sort of on the money to some extent. After several unsuccessful attempts to complete a capture,
Yes.
Lara sets out
God, it really is.
working out whether she is a robot.
That sounds wild.
Oh, and Ice Cream Man is probably a good film to see as a short before The Brutalist. After the Nazis invade the Netherlands, Jewish ice cream parlor owner Ernst Kahn is targeted by the Butcher of Leon. Based on actual events, the ice cream man must choose between resistance and death.
I don't necessarily want to be watching that in a darkened movie theater, but this is maybe the world we live in.
We'll see if it makes it in the shorts. Somewhat lengthy. It's a 33 minutes, so it is one of a lengthier short compared to a fair few. The thing I'll obviously also have to go through by the time we get to predicting the shortlist for these is how many of these have got big name actors in, considering how it's been for the last 3-4 years.
How crazy is it when you know you're watching shorts? How long 35 minutes can seem.
Oh my God, tell me about it. Especially when you're not into it.
Speaking of not being into it, there's a lot of TV in Critics' Choice, but I think I want to break tradition here a little bit. We're not predicting, so it's not really a tradition at this point. We're just talking.
Yeah.
Let's go through the movie stuff, and then we'll kind of end on, by the way, here's the TV stuff, and we'll just kind of.
Well, we have to end on, by the way, here's the chat too.
Yeah, because Ashley seems to watch quite a bit of the TV stuff, so he'll probably have most of the commentary on that. But it does feel like we're mostly a movie channel when it comes to this stuff.
Oh yeah,
the TV always feels like sort of semi-also. The only reason like the critics sometimes make sense for that is when they have the sort of TV movies. that sometimes
Yeah.
somehow get carried through to being real movies.
They are
Like,
just the extra points that get us the win in the end.
But
That's what
we were all ecstatic to see Weird Al win. I think it was last
Oh
year.
my God, yes.
And then I want to say was however many years ago it was that Prey came out. That was in the TV movie category because of the whole only getting released predominantly on streaming.
Yeah, I mainly wanted to explain that in case somebody was like new here and was like, "Why are you completely not giving shit about TV?" Because we really don't.
No.
I'm so bad at watching TV. I really like The Penguin, but I've only been 3 episodes in for like a month. I just need to pick it back up, and I just keep doing other things. That's my relationship with TV shows.
The only show that I watch right now is All Elite Wrestling. That's it. It's all I watch on television. There's nothing else. Heels, I finally finished season 2 of, and if there's hopefully a season 3 some line, I'll be jumping on that. But nah, I don't watch TV.
TV always gets more and more fascinating as it goes because the amount of big name people that are just doing either limited series or sort of one-off appearances in series is growing even more so. Considering how it was always seen that TV was, because I have to get some sort of Foxcatcher reference in once every season. Believe Vanessa Redgrave's mother character to not Schultz, what's his name? DuPont, saying, it's a low sport. It feels like at some point TV went from being a low sport to, oh my God, you need it on your CV.
You need it on your award shows, apparently, too, because even the Spirit Awards jumped on that stuff.
Yeah, but the Spirits gets weird when we're showcasing independent stuff and the Penguin gets in.
All right, so do we start down here? It's so weird to see foreign language now that we've gotten used to international.
Yeah, I think they're the only ones that are holding back on switching to international.
So we've got All We Imagine Is Light, plus Emilia Perez, Flo, I'm Still Here, Kneecap, Seal the Sacred Fig. Not really any surprises, right?
I mean,
No.
I'm just double checking. It's pretty much the same list from the Globes, just Kneecap and Flo making it in instead of Girl with a Needle and Vermelia.
And as far as animated, like I said, don't want to get ahead or anything, but is anybody betting on anything that's not one of these 5? As far as like the final Oscar lineup, what ends up being?
Legitimately, no, unless there's something we're not thinking about or there's something that is hiding that we don't know about yet. But that seems very logical to be the 5.
Yeah, Flo, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Wild Robot. I mean, that's pretty. We always wonder, like, oh, what's the sort of foreign or international one going to be? Flo has been here pretty consistently, so.
I feel like, weirdly enough, Flo's going to do really well at the Annies this year. And I say the Annies don't matter every year, and usually they don't. But I feel that it's just going to be another notch in Flo's belt this year. It's going to be a really interesting battle with it and the Wild Robot during this season. I honestly feel it's going to go back and forth. It's not just going to be one-sided.
I still feel it's confusing that Looney Tunes thing is eligible for consideration, even though in terms of its release it clearly isn't, because I don't think it's even coming out this year. So I don't get that. And then I'll mention this here from the satellites because it caught me off guard. Again, proving that they don't give a damn about what the Academy says and whatever. Hang on, where the bloody hell is it? They decided for animated to put Mobile Suit Gundam in, along with like as soon as you see the list, it's like Flow Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wild Robot, Wallace and Gromit, and Mobile Suit Gundam. It's like, where did that come from?
So does that take us to comedy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is obviously interesting because we have Deadpool, Hitman, My Old Ass, Pain, Saturday Night, and Thelma. We have learned that well, I don't know. We've had the conversation that they'll typically go for like something that's actually like a comedy than just like the best movie here. But it's interesting that A Real Pain is not in picture, so would that help it? I mean, I know this is part of predictions, which we'll do eventually, but that's I feel like the main document with comedy is typically are they going to go outside of
I feel it's
best movie and
the first time in a number of years where a film that is in the comedy category actually hasn't made it to Best Picture
yeah.
as well. Because I think they classify Barbie as a comedy because it's relatively light-hearted and things like that.
For sure. Barbie's
And
definitely comedy.
I feel like it probably would have happened with Vice and Don't Look Up and the Adam McKay stuff over the years as well. I don't know whether I can even look it up. Whether it's searchable.
It would be nice to give this to Saturday Night or My Old Ass, or obviously the correct answer is A Real Pain, but I feel like this could be a win for Hitman finally. As much as you guys talk it up, the fact that it's here makes me think that it's not here. Well, then again, they put crap like Thelma in here, so anything's possible.
Yes, I almost think a Hitman win here is too good to be true.
Just for last year, Barbie won out beating American Fiction, Holdovers, and Poor Things.
That's right. Because I think I went with Poor Things, if I remember correctly.
2022, Glass Onion beat out Banshees and EO, not that one, and Triangle of Sadness. So
right.
yeah, it's been a while that nothing that arguably would be in the main category contention actually made it in. So it's sort of, for once, it's an actual standalone category for the first time in ages.
It's still an MTV Movie Awards category that I hate being here.
Ironically, I think 2020 was the last one where Palm Springs won out, where
right.
The only thing that got... didn't Borat make it in for script?
I'm pretty sure.
In the Oscars?
Yeah.
But they were nowhere near picture anyway, but, that's the first one.
If you want to throw out a category that needs to be in the Critics' Choice after the year that we've had, I feel like there's a strong reason to give us a Best Horror category.
Yeah.
If you're going to do this, and you're going to go MTV Movie Awards, go all in. We need a horror category, especially with how strong horror has been in 2024.
At least they got rid of the extra acting categories like comedy and action and stuff like that. I know it sucks for me to say that because Blonde won for Edge of Tomorrow, but still, apart from that one, those were deletable.
Yeah.
Just like this category is deletable too. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, I would take best comedy over like best action movie or something like that. Obviously, I love action movies, but like I said, comedy, you can have stuff like Hitman
and I would say over both of those categories personally.
And I only feel sort of comedy gets the recognition it does, what with the Globes and the critics and SAG doing a specific sort of, doing the whole split between drama and comedy musical.
That's fair.
That's the only sort of reason that I think comedy gets more recognition than it may deserve to some extent.
I mean, they could just make a best genre film category if they wanted to.
God, they would have to nominate like 10. They'd have to have 10 slots then if they did that.
Case in point, when I looked at again, well, this is dabbling on TV, but it's the only it brings into the spirit stuff. They now have genre TV series just wrapped into drama, I believe, as well. They have separate categories, so you've got 4 for TV series genre and the 6 for drama. But when it comes to the acting stuff, they just merge them together for whatever reason.
All right. A lot of these are going to be familiar. Visual effects. We have Gladiator, Wicked, Dune, Better Man, The Substance, Planet of the Apes. We didn't really mention this before, but it is interesting that Gladiator is here, and it was it shortlisted in visual effects? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2 is super fun, I think.
I agree.
Actually, I like Gladiator 2 the more I think about it too. But honestly, much like its previous movie, as beloved as it is, visual effects is not its strong suit. So yeah, but okay. I suppose the others make sense enough, right?
I'm glad The Substance is here, and I think it's hilarious if you look at its Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Everybody is shortlisted, like named one by one, but it just simply says The Substance Visual Effects Team. I love that. It's like, hey, by the way, there's like 35 people in this group. Let's go.
Then for hair and makeup, we have Beetlejuice, and this sounds familiar, doesn't it? When I said, I think this will be the 5 that are nominated at the Oscars. Dune, Wicked, Nosferatu, A Different Man, and The Substance. So, there we go. Any further comment on that?
Again, the fact that Dune and Substance are the hair and makeup team, because we don't know who you should recognize.
And it's like we were saying before, just as another little Substance, that it was like, oh, it'd be great if The Substance could get recognition here, but Dune's this year, and Dune's probably gonna wipe the floor with all these tech categories. I feel like that's shifted lately. That actually shifted a while ago, where The Substance might actually be the one to beat. So, especially when you look at Dune's ineligibility for score, because it's like, oh, but it's basically like a lot of what you did before.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably say that about the makeup too.
Yeah.
So, in cases, I mean, there's like what they did to Butler and stuff like that, but all the Harkonnens look the same. So, yeah. So for song, there's Miley.
Yeah.
There's Miley for the last time. Compress Repress, the 2 from Amelia Perez, Heartburn Will Go West, and Kiss the Sky. Just like I said, this is all. That's what I'm talking about. It's just gonna keep driving home the point of these are just Oscar predictions, right? Even though these came out pre-shortlist, but still, it doesn't change the fact.
Diane Warren was missing from the Critics' Choice last time, so it makes sense it'd be missing this time.
She can miss everything, and I wouldn't put anything into it.
Yeah.
I said the 4 Good Days nomination. The 4 Good Days nomination is all I really need to come back to. Even though you could say pretty much most of her nominations for the last 15 years or so. But score: Conclave, The Brutalist, The Wild Robot, Amelia Perez, Challengers, Dune. Said probably the last time we're going to see Dune because Critics' Choice said whatever, but at least they did something independent. Like they had an independent thought. At least that's good for them.
I'm glad Conclave's here.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty solid list for the most part. The Brutalist, Unheard, but
I mean, just seeing the trailer, I've heard music enough, and if that's anything like that, it's going to be a very powerful score.
I said I'm not a Wild Robot fan, but Chris Bowers is very talented, obviously. So
Music's for
okay. Here we go. Here's some stuff we haven't talked about today. These four. For production design, we've got The Brutalist, Wicked, Conclave, Nosferatu, Gladiator, and Dune. That sounds about right, doesn't it? Anything? I guess we're saying, like, is there anything missing? Is the discussion?
I never am good when it comes to production design. I never have been.
I always stick with the what was once explained to me as production design is anything on screen that's not an actor or a costume.
Okay.
Basically. I'm sure you can find little contradictions to that, but for the most part, that's what it is.
Mm.
So are we good there?
The substance, maybe.
Yeah. It's really, I think it's less the production on itself and more the way the substance is shot that really pops about that.
That's a cinematography.
Because the movie is so dark, but visually it's so bright.
Yes.
Which I love.
Same.
I think that would be more of a cinematography thing.
They don't agree. Continue.
For costumes, we have Conclave, Nosferatu, Maria, Wicked, Dune, Gladiator. Is there?
We don't really have a period piece here. I guess the closest would be Nosferatu.
Nosferatu and Maria's like
Maria.
Maria takes place in like the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah. This is what we're looking at. I'm guessing it's Wicked's to lose, probably.
I'd say you're gonna bet for Tazwell in this one for sure, unless Jacqueline West takes it. But it could be somebody completely out of nowhere.
Okay. For editing, we have Anora, Challengers, Conclave, The Brutalist, Dune, and September 5.
I like September 5 being here, honestly.
Is this September 5's only nomination? Yeah, it appears to be. Yeah, because it got the picture nomination at the Globes.
And it got into screenplay, too.
Oh, yes, it did. Okay.
I'm totally fine with September 5 being here because the editing in September 5 is really good.
It seems like even sight unseen, it seems like
it flows really well too.
And the kind of story that it's telling feels like that would be like one of the strong points of like the movie itself, as far as how the story's told, is how it moves along and is cut and all that. So yeah, obviously I'm thrilled about Challengers being here. So I'd love for that to continue happening in this category, because it's not just the tennis scenes and how insanely they're put together, but the fact that the movie is non-linear, non-stop. Which I feel like is kind of unusual. We have a lot of non-linear movies, but like every time it cuts to a new scene in Challengers, we're in a different time.
Right.
Which is really interesting, and it might seem a little obnoxious when it has to keep saying where we are in time, but it's done so well, you kind of always know where we are. I feel like even if like the words didn't come up on screen, we would know where we were in time in Challengers, just based on how it's cut, which is very, very impressive when it's constantly bouncing around.
I would like the substance in here, honestly, but
yeah, that's especially.
It'd help its picture chances.
Yeah, because there's especially some sequences in the middle where the editing plays a big part in shit ramping up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, cinematography.
Speaking of the substance, it should be there too.
Got Nosferatu, Wicked, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune, and Nickel Boys. I guess I was gonna say, does Wicked really need to be? I guess when you look at because like I said, a lot of people associate cinematography with specific shots.
It's so grand, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of people forget to take camera movement into effect.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of in Wicked that has to be very specifically choreographed. So I guess it's fine. So yeah, I guess these pretty much make sense. Nosferatu is just another one of those ones where it's like I haven't seen it, but I'm confident. I'm sure it's probably there's a reason it's here. I'm sure.
Just the trailer alone makes me think that it belongs here.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like I since I don't watch trailers, I've only heard that. But I everybody that said that, I believe them.
And I would honestly say the same thing about Nickel Boys too, because I got to see the trailer again last night, and it's like, yeah, I get it. I get why this is in here.
I'm assuming that's specifically the first-person point of view thing.
Oh my God, yeah, it's very prevalent in the trailer. You can definitely tell us what they're going for.
All right, since they do this weird thing, let's jump up here to ensemble and young actress, then we'll come back down to screenplay.
Sounds good.
Young actor/actress is an interesting list. I've seen all these too. Wow.
Good job.
Not. I am totally not sure how to say her first name, actually, but it's young Furiosa, and Furiosa, who people may forget is Furiosa for like an entire fraction of the movie, like for an hour. She's the star of the movie. Then we have Elliot Heffernan for Blitz, Maisie Stella for My Old Ass, Isaac for Dee Dee, Alicia Weir for Abigail, and Zoe Ziegler for Janet Planet. Nice to see Alicia Weir like get something.
I'd like that. I think the only person I'd be okay with her losing to at this point would be actually no. I like Isaac Wang too. He's really solid, Dee Dee, but I really like Maisie Stella a lot.
Yeah, I honestly feel like it could be any of them, but a part of me wants to say Maisie Stella is the one to beat.
I think so, but you know, a lot of people really liked Abigail.
Yeah, I was gonna say really between like My Old Ass, Dee Dee, Abigail, maybe even Furiosa because she's in more of it than you would think. I mean, a lot of these people are the stars of their movie.
Right. And
actually, like pretty much all of them are kind of the stars of their movie.
It sounds like it's going to be something that I've actually seen. So Heffernan and Ziegler not winning would be.
I've already forgotten a lot of Blitz, quite honestly.
I had one chance to see it. It was in the theater across town, and like that's the same theater I watched the 4:30 movie in, and it was, yep, nope, it was gone in a week. I didn't get a chance to see it.
I already forgot that Harris Dickinson was in it before it even ended.
That's fair.
So ensemble, we got a Nora Conclave, Saturday Night, Sing Sing.
Saturday Night, happy.
I'm hearing more people from Saturday Night Live really love that movie, and you might say, "Oh, well, of course they love it because whatever." No, I would think a lot. I was expecting a lot of them to come out and say that they didn't.
For sure.
So I'm surprised to see how much it's supported. It's like David Spade, I think, was the last one recently that talked about how much he loved it, and to hear Aykroyd say how accurate it is when he was there for what the movie is, I feel like is a big deal. So that's really fun. I feel like it's a stretch, but if they got in SAG Ensemble, I think that'd be really cool.
Jeez, but you read my mind, man. Seriously, I was about to say Saturday Night feels to me like a lock for SAG Ensemble that no one's going to see coming except for us.
I'm not counting on it. I just think it'd be cool.
I think it's going to happen. I want the substance to be here. Challengers should be here.
Yeah, those are smaller focuses. I'm trying to think if this is like because most of these are pretty. I don't know anything about Anora, but yeah, a lot of these are like kind of expansive casts.
Yeah, I can't say anything about Amelia Perez, but I can say something about everything else I've seen. And they picked a really decent 3 or 4. So I mean, that's not bad.
Let me rephrase what I just said. I know enough about Honora.
We'll get further in the award season. I'll reveal my hand. Don't worry.
Adapted.
When I start getting more fed up, you'll see how I really feel. Adapted.
Amelia Perez, Wicked, Sing Sing, Nickel Boys, Conclave, and Dune. I'm still holding out on I'm not counting out Almodovar, and I'm not counting out Queer yet. So
yeah,
these make sense to me, but I feel like we're not looking at the Oscar 5 completely with this list, is what I think.
I don't think so.
Yeah. And like I said, we were talking about this with the songs with the shortlist, or the score with the shortlist. Screenplays the same way. I'll say it as many times as I have to. Musicals and categories like this are really fuzzy to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, however they judge that, I guess. And I'll always love seeing Dune in these categories. I said I never predict it, so I can just be really pleasantly surprised when it does happen.
That's fair.
Original. Honora, September 5, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Challengers. Wow, you start off not so great, and then that ending just really...
That's a pretty good lineup, man. And
that A Real Pain, The Substance, Challenger. I feel like we're doing our top 10s already when I say those together. Top 5s.
Yeah,
if we're doing our top 5s, I might possibly be saying quite a few of those in a row.
I really hope that you take to September 5, and I don't see any way you won't. It's so well done. The dialogue is fantastic. I can't stop thinking about how great that movie truly is.
Yeah, I saw the the LA Times roundtable, and Sarsgaard was there. He's at both of them, and just hearing him talk about it, it's like I'm sure I'll probably be into this.
Yeah. It'll be another one of your favorite Megara performances too.
Nice.
Yeah, he's very, very solid in the movie. He's got a lot to work with. I don't know anything about The Brutalist either, but I can't see this movie not being I don't know if it's going to be the world-ending greatest thing since Slumdog, but I mean, I do think that
I know it's hard, but you got to try to go into it not thinking that.
That's the problem. It's I'm worried that it's going to be the zone of interest. And for some people, that's a good thing. But for me, that's a really, really bad thing, because I wanted to like the zone of interest and I couldn't. The 2 times I watched it. And I don't want The Brutalist to be, because number one, I'm not sitting 8 hours in a theater. It's not a Tarantino movie. So needless to say, watching The Brutalist twice and spending 8 hours of my life, I hopefully will get it the first time so I don't have to relive it.
I'm getting more excited for The Brutalist as we get closer. Because I
really have it right now, because it's coming out limited this week, and obviously we didn't get it. And I don't have any frame of time when it's coming out. I believe it's January, actually.
Because I really want to see Brody back in top form. I've always been a cheerleader. He's been in these really sort of low tier movies. It's dude, we know what you've got. Come back. And I had while I was working yesterday, I had Memento around just at random. And Guy Pearce is one of those actors that I just love so much. And I think I forget how much I love him until I'm watching him. I'll stand by his performance in Lawless for as long as I live. But like, yeah, with stuff like Memento and stuff like that. Even that movie, that Jim movie, Results, the one with him and Kevin Corrigan, just like and then LA Confidential, just like anything and everything, no matter where he is, whether it's low tier or high tier, or if it's like a small part of something like The King's Speech or The Hurt Locker.
Mm.
I just really fucking love that dude, and I tend to forget that. So if he's gonna do something amazing here and get his first nomination, that's something else I'm starting to get kind of hyped about, even though I have yet to predict him.
I've been there for a while now.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens when the 30th gets here.
Speaking of that,
all right, we've got our acting categories.
time.
Got Danielle Deadweiler. Is that her? She was at the Spirit Awards, right?
Yeah.
This is, I think, Ingenue Ellis's first mention.
It is, because she's
like,
everybody said got snubbed.
Yeah, and then Grande, Qualley, Rossellini, and Saldana. Now, like I've been saying, Globe and Critics' Choice technically are nothing.
Right.
But I can't help but notice that I say Qualley a lot more comfortably than I would have.
Yep.
Like a couple weeks ago.
if I had someone that was on the chopping block right now for Qualley to take that 5th slot, which I don't see not happening, spoiler alert, by the time this month is over, it's not who I thought it was going to be that I would take out. It's somebody completely different.
So yeah, I'll be, like I said, I'm stuck on doing something in supporting actors that's gonna piss everybody off, but things keep popping up that make it possible for me to do that, you know.
I know where you're going with this, and you could be right. You most likely are wrong, but I guess you'll find out soon enough.
Well, speaking of people that keep popping, are we done? Or anything else on supporting actress?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this jabroni in a minute.
How dare you talk about Denzel Washington like that?
I am not talking about any of the other 5 people in this category in a bad way whatsoever.
You'd know if you talked about Denzel that way, because I would literally teleport to Florida and beat the shit out of you right now. If you
hey,
said
if I get you here, then I'll take the beating. It's fine. You need to be here anyway. You need a vacation. Literally.
Well, speaking of...
Yeah, no lie.
I need a lot of things, but yeah.
This is not one of them. Stop it. Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Is it Yura Borisov? Is that how we say it?
Yeah, that first part of that last name is correct.
Okay, and one of my favorites of the year in the wrong fucking category, we got a mention for Clarence Macklin here.
Yes, you know it. Let's go.
Edward Norton already contradicting what I said about the Globes. So there he is again.
Complete Unknown is a lot bigger deal than people think it is.
Well, hold on. It's Globes and Critics' Choice. Hold on.
No, I'm just saying it. I think it is, just without anything like any precursors or anything. I'm like, no, I think Complete Unknown's a big deal. I'll know at 12:45 on the 27th of December.
And the man of 5 minutes ago, Guy Pearce.
Yes.
And
and the man that's going to get my ass kicked from a teleportation.
And yes, I'm living for all these Denzel mentions. Remember back at the beginning of the season when I was like, I don't believe in the Denzel Gladiator thing. Ridley Scott makes me nervous. I'm not gonna go for the Denzel thing. And now it's like, if you don't go for the Denzel thing, there will be fires.
So the funny thing is, you completely flipped on Sam Jackson to Denzel. Wow. I think you actually have both of them right now, don't you?
I haven't dropped Jackson yet. It's so fucking annoying that we're not gonna have SAG before our next prediction video.
I swear, these guys are just taking it in turns. Meryl, Jennifer Lawrence, Denzel. It's like, no, this is the year where only you. You can never have like both, you know, in terms of, well, you've always got to put them in nominations.
What bothers me to no end. This 6 people that's listed on this lineup, feels like 5 of them are the locked in place Oscar lineup. And if that is the case, the thing that bothers me more than anything is they're going to take the one performance I love in this category and they're going to replace him with the one performance I disapprove of in this category.
That puts so much stock in Globe. It's insane.
It's just it feels finite at this point. I don't know why. I just feel like we're looking at the 5 right now, and then there's the outlier. I know who I want the outlier to be because I don't want him there. But I mean, I feel that these names keep popping up everywhere for a reason, and it feels like, as much as I hate to say it, the performance I like is going to get overshadowed by the performance I don't like, and that's the season that we're currently in. But here's the weird thing. No love for Conclave.
I was just going to say, I need SAG and or BAFTA to tell me.
Now.
I need them to tell me about Jackson or Tucci before I really feel like I can make a decision, because I look at this group. I was already talking about a surprise Macklin snub weeks ago.
Right.
And I don't know if I believe in the North. Actually, I tried to avoid all advertising and trailers and stuff like that. I've accidentally gotten glimpses of Norton from fucking YouTube ads that pop up randomly.
I love that trailer so much.
Do you remember? I love J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, same.
You have to know how much I love J.K. Simmons before I tell you, though. His boring ass, completely pointless nomination for Being the Ricardos.
Yes! You're welcome, by the way. I'll take credit for that.
If Norton, I haven't seen A Complete Unknown. This is completely based on literally nothing. It's like a feeling. So this isn't something I'm saying I feel. It's just like this. I feel like it could be this scenario. That a Norton nomination for A Complete Unknown feel like Simmons' nomination for Being the Ricardos. Because I still couldn't tell you. I still can't tell you to this day why Simmons was nominated for Being the Ricardos. Especially when I think there were like plenty of other options they had that were significantly more memorable. It's such a weird. I just don't fucking get it. Like I said, maybe Norton's gonna do something fucking incredible in A Complete Unknown. But I don't know. I just look at this Globe and Critics' Choice nomination, and I'm for some reason I'm not feeling it. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm such in the habit of saying Jackson and Tucci from putting them in this entire season that it feels weird. It feels weird right now. But I haven't. Like I said, I was talking about there's a potential Macklin snub coming like weeks ago. Right. Which I could also be wrong about, but I don't know. That's just one of those things. I don't know if they'll go like more high profile or if Sing Sing will underperform, maybe. I don't think Sing Sing's going to underperform at SAG because it's a movie about fucking acting.
They do really well at SAG.
Yeah, but I don't know. I could see a world where Macklin gets in SAG, misses BAFTA, misses Oscar. But we'll see.
Personally, I hope not. But...
And yeah, the Honora guy is like really hanging out here a lot.
Yeah, that's what's bothering me.
And like I said, I almost just keep like Pierce is always on the cusp. And it's like I feel like I should have him in as a no-brainer, and it's kind of weird that I don't. But he's always my 6th.
You get attached to a lineup, and then it's hard to shake you from it until you have something that forces you to make a decision you don't want to make.
I'm also on this Harris Dickinson for Baby Girl thing.
I'm fine with that.
That, like I said, I could almost see being one of those. There has to be a precursorless nomination. There like always is.
Right.
So we got to decide where we're going to do that. And this category feels open to me.
Possible.
That was a lot of time on supporting actor.
It's a fun year. It really is.
Well, here's this category that has even more talk points.
Yeah.
We could do actress for like 2 hours, man. But they went with Cynthia Erivo, Carla Sofia Gascon, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Angelina, Mikey Madison, Demi Moore. This is, I say, Critics' Choice is meaningless. That being said, because Critics' Choice tends to be a bit high profile compared to others, this is a pretty good get for Marianne Jean-Baptiste.
Beating somebody like Nicole Kidman being something in Baby Girl that is getting a lot of praise. And, honestly, if this was going to go anywhere in like the outrageous territory, this might have been a chance to give Pam Anderson a nomination for Last Showgirl if they wanted to go that route.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening, but I'm saying this could have been a way to do it without having to give anything further.
Yeah, because I feel like Erivo is a big question mark. Because there was a while there where I was thinking like all the love was pointed at Grande, and like people were hardly bringing Erivo up. But now it's like she's getting a lot closer. But like I said, this category is so crazy. I think I'm not concerned about Kidman missing here because SAG fucking loves Kidman.
Yes, she'll get in the SAG. I think your 5 are here with. I don't know. It just depends on Baptiste.
I said when I saw Maria that the movie's underwhelming, but I'm not picturing a universe that Angelina's not one of the 5 now.
That's fair.
She's gonna fall right in line the way Portman and Stewart did. He's gonna get all 3 of them in, I think. So
that makes sense.
It'll be the completion of his trilogy that they all get nominated.
Fair.
I was talking to a friend the other day about how Gascon's a weird instance because thanks to Saldana and her category placement, and the fact that Gascon is the title character, it'd be interesting to me if Gascon got in because she doesn't even feel like the lead in her own. And I'm wondering how much that's going to. We've had the whole conversation already about how much will the industry love Amelia Perez as much as these other bodies have that are not industry voters. Which I guess remains to be. I guess that could be the telling sign. But then again, we also had Rival get like picture and director and adapted screenplay. It's like, oh shit, we forgot Amy Adams. It happens.
And so that's another one too. I mean, I don't know what they have, if they're going to take the Night Bitch or not. But I mean, Amy Adams is in this like very, very far in this conversation. But I think she's here somewhere.
I don't know, Amy Adams has been struggling a lot to get it anymore.
Oh. This would have been a chance to nominate Adams too, and they didn't go that route either. So.
Yeah. And Swinton isn't here, but like I said, I don't know. The last time I put Swinton in, I had Angelina out because I had said that Almodovar has a really good track record right now with like Cruz getting in for Parallel Mothers and Banderas getting in for Pain and Glory and stuff like that. But it's like he and Pablo Larraín have pretty much the same track record right now. Like Almodovar he got Cruz in 2006 as well. But that Jackie Spencer thing is like, well, Angelina's really here too. So it's like, am I gonna have to decide between Angelina and Swinton? I'd obviously pick Angelina, but I'm not letting Swinton go.
I wouldn't be.
I mean,
Room Next Door blanked at the Critics' Choice completely.
At the same time, I'm trying to remember whether she has history, but she feels like the sort of person that could easily get a SAG nod because the actors recognise her, which would probably have more sway than any of the other sort of press associations in terms of Globes and Critics' Choice, giving her some recognition.
I was gonna say I could totally see it as a BAFTA thing too, but I guess my first question would be: Is The Room Next Door BAFTA eligible? Before I go that route.
It released here, so I'd have thought so.
Okay.
That's fair.
I'd almost say that's something BAFTA would do as well.
I'll see if there's anything on. No, I want. What the hell?
There's the thing about actors is there's so many possibilities that somebody's gonna get snubbed, just mathematically.
Just as long as it's not Demi Moore, I don't care.
Same.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like just axe all of them. Just have Demi Moore just as the only nominee, and it's like that'd be perfectly okay.
I'm fine with that.
So
speaking of a category that is pretty basic this year, that seems to be locked in place right now.
Yeah, we have the 5 it's going to be plus Hugh Grant.
That's exactly right.
Tell me who another choice is that's not Brody, Chalamet, Craig, Domingo, or Fiennes.
No, you can't. I mean, no.
Nothing's coming to me.
If they would have taken to a real pain more, Eisenberg, but that was never an option. Gabriel Bell would.
Well, then again,
Stan?
The question is, Stan's definitely the next person I'd go to, but the question is it going to hurt him more than help him 2 movies?
It's the old Ashley thing about Sebastian Stan for something.
Yeah, because I would say A Different Man's the one where he stands out more.
Right.
Like, not even to do with the fact that he's, to put it mildly, playing a controversial figure in the other one.
Right.
But I still think The Apprentice would get more attention than people might think. Because I think people are saying, like, oh, nobody wants to touch it, nobody's going to go near it. All his votes would probably go for A Different Man.
No.
And because, like I said, it's not like, oh man, this is a slippery slope of a conversation.
Yep.
It's not like, damn. I'm hoping you know what I mean, and you're just gonna say, yeah, I get it, and we can move on.
Good luck on that one, sir.
It's not like there's a reason of that sort to dislike his or be against his performance in The Apprentice. You know what I mean?
He's playing a role. He's playing the role well. He does the role well. He's had a really good year. He needs to be credited for that year.
I said, what I keep saying is The Apprentice is basically a Rorschach test of a movie. Whoever's watching that movie is going to view it the way they want to view it.
Right.
Even though there's things in there that you would think are inarguable, you'd be surprised how people will find ways.
Yes, that's right.
So, so Stan would be really cool. Like I said, I prefer A Different Man because I think his performance in A Different Man is one of the best performances of the year.
You're not wrong.
Like, it's not even comparing it to his Trump performance. It's just as A Different Man performance as it stands alone would be at the very top of my performances of the year list.
Yeah. Different Man is just such a fantastic movie that not enough people are gonna see.
I feel like he has enough of a built-in fan base that I feel like enough people know about it. Whether they've seen it or not might be a different story. But
here's the weird question. I know it seems bizarre now, and since these really are kind of like visibility and that's all they are, where's Grant in this? Is he in this conversation at all?
Okay, so we keep saying Critics' Choice doesn't mean anything, Globe doesn't mean anything. That being said, it's really interesting he's shown up twice now.
I agree completely.
Then again, though, like, I think this is a great performance, but remember Ben Affleck got in Critics' Choice for The Way Back.
Yep.
And that was clearly not going. I mean, I think it's actually cool that happened, but it was very clear he was the 6th spot and it wasn't going anywhere else.
Right.
And like I said, I'm not even about to put a lot of stock in Globe and Critics' Choice.
No.
But like I said, it caught me by surprise. He's at both.
I would say if you're gonna put a 5th, if you're putting a 6th person in this lineup, it's Stan and Grant.
Yeah, because when you also talk about how useless Globe and Critics' Choice are as far as predictions goes, let's not forget both of them have 6 slots for some reason.
Right.
So if there were only 5 spots for Globe and Critics' Choice,
no,
they'd probably be. Well, is there anybody split up? Are they?
At the same time, I wouldn't.
Yeah, they're all in drama. So
the thing that could help Grant maybe is whether Heretic makes it in for original screenplay. If that makes it in, there could be enough, because really it's his character that really holds that thing together.
Here's the thing about Heretic, though. I know it doesn't matter for a precursor, but it's hell of visibility to have Heretic get into WGA.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very likely that's going to happen with all the things that are ineligible. And have Grant somehow snag a spot at BAFTA, then he's in the conversation.
Guilds are going to be complicated enough anyway, because you know, all the ones, at least, you know, taking out the PGA documentary, are all over the case of like 2 or 3 days. In fact, I think SAG is actually the day before, so whether there's a chance, I don't think there's a chance. Maybe, again, because it's SAG and it's actors versus, you know, voting for actors, there could be a chance that Hugh makes it in SAG. In all honesty,
he could get SAG, he could get BAFTA, and he could take one of the 5th slots. But here's the thing: who is he going to take out of this 5? These have been pretty months now.
I was getting ready to say, is it at Craig's expense?
I'd say Craig.
I feel bad.
At least for BAFTA, Fine seems more of a lock than Craig if you're going to have the obligatory Brit. Domingo, I think, will make in partially diversity-wise. But also because it's, you know, a good performance.
And Brody and Chalamet are fighting for the win right now.
Brody probably will be in there as well. Chalamet, because there's always usually like a British film that, or usually, certainly since the pandemic and we had like rocks and everything sort of like get sort of bits here and there that sort of came out of nowhere. There's always the chance that one of the 6 that they have in those categories is a British centric thing, which gets interesting in itself, because that could snub, you know, something that could make it into the Oscars, but at the same time it could kill the momentum, which meaning something that just got left out because of the British entry might actually get in instead. So if you're looking for the British contenders, though, I think Fines is the definite right in, I think, across the entire board. Ahead of anyone else.
So I said a while back that Fines feels like he's going to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Because to me, it felt more like you said, Brody and Chalamet for the win. I was thinking more like Chalamet's got the biopic slot and Brody's just kind of, right now, to my understanding, it feels like Brody's at the top.
Right now he is. From what I keep seeing and hearing, I feel like Brody it's his award to lose at this point. But it just depends on how Chalamet does, because I mean, he's playing Bob Dylan. It's not easy to do. It's only been done perfectly once. So
I was gonna say, quite a few people will tell you Blanchett's already this.
Hence what I said, perfectly once.
Although looking at it, it seems like he's sort of overdue anyway. Other than the Globes that recognised him for The Menu a couple of years back, pretty much the last time he was recognised across everything but the Academy was the Grand Budapest Hotel, which
Yep.
is technically 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for the Academy itself, it goes back to the English Patient. Ignoring, you know, End of the Affair and Constant Gardener and the Duchess.
I mean, well,
Bruges, a bigger splash.
I mean,
You
they
could've gone in
didn't
for all this.
get nominated anyway. I was looking at the...
And
I mean-
it still drives me fucking crazy that in 2008 the Globes could have nominated him for Bruges, and they did
Right.
nominate him, but it was for the Duchess for some fucking reason. And Bruges did well at the Globes. It makes no sense.
I mean, before this year started, I mean, before we had any inkling of what anything was going to be, we were talking about Ray Fiennes to win the Oscar. Just
I think
knowing what Conclave was without having anything whatsoever to go by it. We was like, okay, Fiennes is definitely in the conversation.
I never felt like Fiennes was a winner. I think that was the last time that came up was the time that I said I feel like he's comfortable, like being nominated and not like falling out.
He's not bottom of the list either. He's towards the middle for sure.
Yeah, he's like comfortably in the middle, and he's just kind of stuck there.
I think he's third right now. If I had to place a number on it,
That could be Chalamet 2, Brody 1.
yep.
That makes sense, I think.
And the only reason I think Craig is low is because I think everybody's been used to saying Domingo so long that that's Craig's like fifth slot. I mean, unless he would win that, that's the only way that I'm gonna think otherwise.
Sing Sing's another one of those ones where we kind of really don't know where it is right now.
You don't know its placement in the season right now.
And yeah, you could say, oh, it's about acting. They're going to love it. Yeah, the acting branch will love it.
Right.
That doesn't really speak for anybody else.
That ensemble for Sing Sing, please happen. Please happen.
God, that's even more disturbing. I went around the rabbit hole of looking at sort of Ray Fiennes getting nominated last year at the Saturn Awards, but losing out to Harrison Ford. Because, of course, Saturn is more, you know, sci-fi, fantasy, and horror sort of things. But I looked, and for some reason, the only nomination it's got, somehow Megalopolis is considered one of the best sci-fi films of the year.
I mean, it looks pretty. I like AubreyPlaza.com. Go for it.
Yeah, but she didn't get recognised at all.
No, she did not.
But Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley did for Substance.
You're damn right they did. Let's knock this out so we can get through chat and take it home. Oh, great. This category.
8 director slots, because let's be totally random about Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker for Honora, Edward Berger for Conclave, John M. Chu for Wicked, Brady. I'm mostly hearing Corbet now. I'm still hearing a few Corbetts occasionally. The Brutalist, Corley Farjaw for The Substance, Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys, and Denis Villeneuve for Dune.
I would say it is a 100% certainty that your 5 is in this lineup.
Audiard, Baker, Berger, Corbet, Farjaw. Ramel Ross is not fucking around.
Ross isn't going away either, and I feel that maybe I'm exceedingly underestimating Nickel Boys, and I think I am. Honestly, I'll admit that right now. And as much as you don't want to say it because you don't want to jinx it, Villeneuve being in here would not shock me either. Not where I would go personally, but
it would
again,
be.
I like it too. We've made this clear, but I would not want him to take one of the 5 slots.
Well, here's the thing: is Villeneuve should be in there. But what's interesting about it is if he was, I'm trying to figure out at whose expense. But which is why I have been predicting him, because I can't. I would have I would have said Owen, or was maybe... What's that?
My screen just died. Sorry. It just went dark in here for a second. Sorry about that, everyone.
Yeah, because, like, there's usually one sort of low-key choice. That'd be burger.
Yeah, but weirdly enough, the more I think about it, I know who the fifth slot is. I know who I think I may know who's going to get chopped at the last minute when it comes to director. If Villeneuve gets in, or Ramel Ross gets in, or like a James Mangold gets in, I'm not going to let that go. Or John Chu. That's a weird one that keeps hanging out too. And it's still logical it could happen. And weirdly enough, the answer that keeps jumping to my mind is Odiard.
If they go for Emilia Perez as much as they could for a movie this flashy, that would be pretty shocking.
So in that circumstance, the person that would be on the chopping block would be Berger, and I have not let go of Berger this whole season.
Like I said, Berger's just like that low-key choice that seems to always make it, and he's like that's the thing is with Conclave, when you look at Berger and Fiennes, I feel the same way about them. Like they're just comfortably sitting in the middle with no real risk of falling out, but they're not making a big, no pun intended with Fiennes, they're not making a big splash. They're just like, hey, we're like totally here, and we're not really going anywhere, but so not threatening to win or anything. We're just chilling out here in our spots.
And I mean, there are ones that seem to be pretty locked at this point, whether we like it or not. But I will say that more and more, even though it seemed like it was going to be wishful thinking for the longest time, and I know, again, we don't have precursors. We don't have anything that matters right now, just visibility and a bunch of random cities and states that have given awards out here and there. But I'm telling you, Corley's in this. And if they want to give a nomination to a female director, not a token nomination, but a much deserved one to a movie that I don't know anyone that doesn't like The Substance, and I am going to champion that movie all season because that's what I do. At the end of the day, I really think she's getting a slot this year, and she deserves it. She is not going to get snubbed on Oscar morning because this is the only legitimate chance they have of a female director in this lineup. If you want to go political, or if you want to go the fact that she just deserves it. So it'd be an Edward Berger getting snubbed, or it would be like an outrageous shot like an Odiard getting snubbed. Then you got like Ramel Ross, who is hanging out here too. So it's like, the question is, where does this go? Because there's so many people that are here, and then there's people that we want to be here, and there's people that we're not sure if they're here, but we don't know anything right now. That's just the fun part about this, because there's so many people that could get in this director lineup. It seems certain until it's not.
Does that bring us to picture?
It does bring us to picture.
All right. So if you ask me personally, and you look at the prediction I had in the last video, the prediction I felt pretty confident in. You look at Nora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boy, Sing Sing, The Substance, and Wicked, which is what's here. My only difference is I have a real pain where A Complete Unknown is.
Right.
Now I gotta decide if, because you don't want to immediately just look at the Tenet Critics' Choice and go, oh shit, I guess that's the 10.
No.
If this ends up also being the PGA lineup, I might get, and that's another case where you might say, oh, well, PGA always has at least one or two different ones, so it's not going to be the same thing. Was it just this past year or the year before it was the PGA lineup?
It was the PGA lineup.
So I would say the 9 here that aren't A Complete Unknown feel like what we're looking at. It's just a matter of what that 10th one is and how how big of a deal a complete unknown ends up becoming, or if a real pain takes that spot, or maybe another one that we're underestimating.
See,
I'm also battling with the fact that I want it to be a real pain.
Yeah, and it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, I also it's crazy because I've not been in on the Nickel Boys thing either. So that's my lineup. Plus, instead of Nickel Boys, I have A Real Pain. I mean, if you look at the chances of the text based upon just the short list to round everything up, it feels like something like Dune and Wicked are guaranteed to get in because they've got enough precursors to get them in. Not to mention the fact that Villeneuve could potentially get in director or potentially get in the screenplay. And you've got Arrivo and Ariana both getting into acting. That's going to propel both of those movies. The substance at this point, I don't want to say it's locked, but with the love for more, the continued love for Quali, you're welcome, and the fact that she could be the only female director nominee this year, it makes me feel very comfortable. Sing Sing is what's the question mark right now.
One more thing for the substance. I've been comfortable for a few months now, I think. Putting the substance in screenplay, yeah.
Same here. And WGA notwithstanding, I think it'd be hilarious if the substance could win like scripter or something like that, just to be like, guess what?
It's original, so that wouldn't happen, but I get the sentiment.
Sure. The Amelia Perez thing jumps out at me too. It's just like, what if it's not as big of a juggernaut as people think it is, and maybe it's not in picture, maybe it's not in director, maybe it's not as strong as people think it is.
You know what's really
funny? Saying that, but I'm saying, what if?
You know what's really funny about all this is if Amelia Perez continues to get this much love, it's going to start becoming the boring choice.
Yes.
Of course it gets everything, which is crazy because Amelia Perez is one of the most unique movies I've seen in a very long time. And it's like The Shape of Water, where like The Shape of Water won so much, it started to get boring after a while. But then it's like you look back on it now and it's like, that movie won Best Picture. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's why I kind of shudder about when I really think about what's actually likely to win picture this year. It does not make me
I feel like we don't know what that is. And I say that as quickly as possible because I know what you're thinking.
Yep. I don't want it either. Let's go! Chat time!
I don't suppose it's going to be possible to do chat in 15 minutes.
Well, as a wise I don't think so.
A nice 3-hour runtime would be clean and lovely.
It might be a few minutes over that.
There is some Josie. There is a Josie game thing, which I'll try and sort of leave till last and do a sort of knock through. So Bryce says I'm odd about the shortlist. 2,000 movies watched over the weekend with Crazy Heart, Sideways, and Hustle and Flow.
Oh my God, that's a great triple feature. Heck yeah.
Josie said I've been reading some great Christmas short stories lately. Read for a great collection called Strike Up the Harp by Owen Parry. New watches since last time, Fire and Ice and Hard to Kill. Adding that they bring up the 1983 Oscars at the beginning of Hard to Kill.
That's hilarious.
Between Mikey Madison, Jolie, and Sophia Gaston, which lock and lead actress do you think will be most likely to miss?
Gascon.
It was Gascon, Madison, and who? Jolie? Yeah, Gascon's the third one there, I think, personally.
Is there any way to just backpedal and run Saldana leading out of nowhere? Or would they not do that in that circumstance?
I don't think they'll... Like I said, the Stanfield thing can happen, obviously. The other way around is probably a lot less likely. Because not to mention that category is already complicated.
Tell me about it.
I mean, Saldana should be in leading. Like, she just should be. But the category is also very complicated as it is. Whatever.
Accurate.
Josie says to you, Owen, that her mum called the lemur in Flow a hoarder.
Yeah, that's 1,000,000% correct.
One of the biggest box office hits for Janus films as well, Flow being.
It's so good. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Bryce says, let people know since the Critics' Choice like to copy the Globe winners, the last day for the Critics' Choice voting is January 12th, a week after the Globe ceremony. So I'm just checking. Isn't that pretty much? So it can't. The last day for voting can't be the 12th because that's when the awards thing is. I'm guessing what he means is like midnight on the 12th.
I have the call. I don't have the schedule.
Is that quicker turnaround for them to count it up?
Yeah, get home.
Josie says, I'm shocked Wild Robot isn't eligible. I don't know if that's for sound or VFX.
Might be WGA too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Bryce says some of the ones that could be up for WGA: Hitman, Nosferatu, Gladiator 2, Fire Inside, Juror Number 2, Civil War, Maria, and Kinds of Kindness.
I would be happy for some love for Kinds of Kindness. Not enough people saw that movie. Juror Number 2 is solid too. It's being completely forgotten, but Juror Number 2 is worth watching.
Yeah, Josie and
Do you know what Juror Number 2 has?
Go ahead.
A J.K. Simmons performance that's better and more memorable than a J.K. Simmons being the.
I like them both for different reasons.
Josie and Bry mentioning, Furiosa sort of getting snubbed from the shortlist stuff. So Happy Kiss the Sky made the shortlist for song. Happy Substance made makeup, but mad that it missed on VFX and sound.
Yeah, it should be there.
Part of me ponders the possibility of Seed of a Sacred Fig pulling a hero, or Decision to Leave and missing international when everybody assumes it's in.
I forgot about Decision to Leave pulling that shit.
That 5 is way too clean to be correct.
Between Corbet and Audiard, which lock do you think is most likely to be a miss in director?
Audiard.
Say those again?
Corbet and Audiard.
Yeah, so Brutalist and Perez.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Corbet's just fine.
Yeah, completely
fine. Probably saying, is AJ excited to watch a Tyler Perry movie because of a Diane Warren song that's automatically going to get nominated by default?
No, I'm not.
Hey, at least it's not a Medea movie.
I don't know. Some of his dramas almost make me miss Medea. And you know how I feel about Medea movies.
You're right. You go back to it.
I hate watching him try to be Eddie Murphy and sit in a living room for 45 minutes playing 5 different characters that are talking about nothing.
Fun fact about Flow: in the post-screening Q&A at TIFF, the director revealed that while they used actual animal voices for all the characters, the real voice for the capybara didn't fit the sound design because it was too screechy. So instead, the capybara was dubbed by a baby camel. You see, the capybara is no different to Ursula Andress and Dr. No. Dub the shit out of it. Josie says, so Happy Touch made the international film shortlist as well as Flow. Robert Eggers, in addition to thanking SpongeBob for introducing the younger generation to Nosferatu, he learned about Lon Chaney through Muppet Babies.
That's amazing. Wow. I love this factoid. Thank you, Josie.
Adding in Robert Eggers' Muppet movie would be interesting.
Come to think of it, there are a lot of classic movie scenes I probably saw for the first time because of Muppet Babies.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The Boulder and Raiders, for sure.
Yeah. Literally in the opening of the show.
Yeah.
Substance 2, We Were All One in an Electric Boogaloo. Warm Bodies made me appreciate Nicholas Hoult.
Darn right,
His
Spencer.
apparently birthday
I
was
didn't.
a few weeks back.
I always liked Holt, but I didn't really become a solid Holt fan until The Favorite. That was
That's fair.
that was the turning point. It's like yes, this guy all the time. Yes.
He's great in the order too.
Spencer says Oz Great and Powerful is even better now with Wicked out. Watch this movie, you fools in this crazy country.
I love that versus so much because it's literally just
Spencer
a DVD
also
box
throws
and
his flowers to that
screen.
verses as well.
Yes.
I still stand by that. I mean, there's a couple of dumb things in it, but they're forgivable. I still stand by that movie.
Great verses of Shock Corridor.
I really wish that video was better. So Spencer's really good for my because he really spotlights a lot of videos where I'm like, man, that one was shit. I really should have done that better.
And then I'm trying to work out what he means by this. Versus series randomizer is the dream.
If we could randomize the verses on the playlist, that would be.
I mean, you can. There is a feature where you can randomize the order that they show up in.
That's true.
You have that capability. Unless you mean like completely random films against each other, which doesn't make sense. Also, Spencer's declaring love for Elizabethtown as well.
Hell yeah, Spencer. Did you enjoy watching me get my ass whipped on camera by Garden State?
Not to mention, I have to bring this up every time. I was sick when we did that video.
You were definitely sick when we did that video.
And I still kicked Elizabethtown's ass.
I don't defend it like I used to, we'll put it that way. I haven't seen it then, so yeah.
Josie saying Holt and Riley Keough have electrifying hot chemistry in Fury Road. That's the real romance.
I didn't like that movie enough to really think about that. But everybody knows that.
Are we doing personal Oscars? They are more important than the Oscars. Yeah.
For sure, but I have to see all the movies first, Spencer.
Despite what Owen will tell you, I will always insist it's the day before nominations morning.
I just hope that I have been able to see everything that's I possibly could like by the time we get there.
Well, here's the thing: is our main concern was we'd end up having to do 3 videos in a row.
Yes.
Because the BAFTA nominations come out 2 days before nominations day, and we want the BAFTA nominations before we do them. But so we were going to have to wait for that. So we'd have to do predictions one day, personal lineups the next day, nominations day the next day. But we literally haven't talked about this. I'm literally laying this out now. I suppose because it's so close, instead of us waiting for BAFTA nominations, because it would literally be right there with nominations day, that having the BAFTA long list may be enough for us to do a final prediction video before then. Because, like I said, if we wait for BAFTA nominations to come out, it's going to be like people probably won't even have time to see our prediction video before nominations day. They already won't care about what the predictions were because nominations will be out by the time that video were to actually be live.
I mean, the plan for the final Oscar predictions of the 2024 is going to be the Monday or Tuesday of the final week of the year. That's usually how it goes. So we're looking at
the 30th.
We're looking at either the day before New Year's Eve or New Year's Eve.
The 30th is our next one, but it's not our last one. Our last one will be sometime after SAG comes out. Sometime after SAG and the BAFTA long list come out.
Right. So yeah, the next one is the last of the big 8, and then the one in January is the.
Yes, correct.
The big one where we predict everything.
Yes.
That's right.
SAG is the 8th, which is a Wednesday.
Of course, Wednesdays are off limits.
But then, of course, we need to fit in the predictions for the Critics' Choice for the 12th. which then leads into the BAFTA nominations on predominantly the 15th.
Basically, for everyone that's been sticking around for award season, you're going to get a lot of content in the span of several weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think Critics' Choice is hardly going to be video worthy. It's going to be a 30-second video of us saying, "Hey, did you guys see the Globes?" That.
That seems like a good bit to use.
Maybe, unless something exciting happens. You never know. It's been a while since we had a tie to just piss everybody off. So,
oh God, keep going.
Spencer wishing everybody a happy early New Year. Don't worry, you can wish us a New Year when we do stuff in a couple of weeks.
Our Oscar prediction, our final Oscar prediction video of 2024. When you can do that.
Favorite stunts this year. I mean, I don't want to say Fall Guy because that seems a bit too funny.
I mean, it's not wrong.
Can we say when Demi Moore got kicked across the room?
Yes.
That's literally the first one that came to mind.
I'm just having it. Apparently, there's World Stunt Awards. I can see what was in contention.
Do we? I mean, fight scenes are stunts, right?
Yes, for sure.
The Paul Feyerotha fight comes to mind. Yeah.
Christmas Evil. AJ review of Krampus is great.
Well, did somebody bring up Christmas Evil? I just rewatched Christmas Evil. Does somebody want to talk about Christmas Evil?
He just said it with an exclamation point, so it was kind of making a statement.
Rye mentioning that there will be a Bluey movie in 2027.
Yeah.
I never have watched anything with Bluey, but I know so many people that swear by that thing.
Josie says a wish Flo was on the score shortlist. The score was amazing, especially in a scene involving a bird.
Which one?
I mean, one comes to mind. One particular one comes to mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
Obviously, Doom Part 2 is ineligible, says Bry. The nominated Indiana Jones last year, so Wicked could make it in for pre-existing music. Yeah.
That was a weird choice. I know it's John Williams, and John Williams is John Williams. That was a weird fucking choice, guys.
Josie declaring we need Benny Safdie and PTA on the Directors on Directors next year.
I support this.
Actually, with Marty Supreme, you could do the Safdie brothers together.
Kravitz is with Matt Reeves, says Bry. I think that's Relationship Boys.
The Batman connection. That makes sense.
In honor of Christmas, favorite sledding scenes in movies. Ooh.
I'm trying to think of a not obvious one, because there's like 10 obvious ones.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, to be quite honest with you.
I mean, there's the Christmas Vacation one.
Yeah.
There's the sliding down the steps in Home Alone.
Cool Runnings.
That's a good one, actually.
Oh, God. I know there's one that's on the tip of my tongue. And as usual, I'm going to remember it at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be pissed that I didn't say it.
Oh, God. That is not something to funnily type into Google.
Favorite iconic Christmas trees in Christmas movies? I mean, I know the obvious answer. Thanks, Germany. The singing ringing tree. that I felt like I took a trip, even though I'm drug free. That was. I know how Metropolis happened when it was being that surreal.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
in.
what's I mean, what's more iconic than Charlie Brown's tree?
Yeah.
if we can call it that, but still.
I would go with Cindy Lou Who's tree from The Grinch,
Which one?
the animated one.
Oh, it's like the one that he stole or the one in town.
Bryce says piece by piece also missed documentary shortlist. And also noting that My Life as a Zucchini was only about an hour long, but did get animated back in 2016.
That's true.
Was it? I was thinking it was pretty like normal length.
Maybe it just felt longer, less than it actually was.
Favorite pets in Christmas movies? Gromit. I know, technically they're shorts, but those original trilogies were all shown sort of Christmas over here. I mean, that's why Vengeance Most Foul is getting shown on Christmas Day over here. Everybody else, everybody. I still feel it's crazy that rest of the world is getting Wallace and Gromit and the next Charlie Brooker Philomena Kunk thing on the same day. If people are not aware of her, I swear there's going to be a lot of people that are wondering whether Philomena Kunk is real and not realizing it's a parody.
He was correct. My Life as a Zucchini is only an hour. I didn't even realize that.
Mm-hmm. Favorite Christmas dinner scene? Ooh.
My mind is always going to Christmas Vacation in every single one of these. I'm trying to branch out, and my brain won't let me.
I mean, Muppet Christmas Carol. Probably helped by that's a banger of a tune that they do for the bit. And then favorite Christmas morning scene. I can't think off the top of my head.
I'm so terrible at these, especially at the end of shows.
I remember the one in 8-Bit Christmas feeling very authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't get the thing.
Bryce says it makes sense to predict like Wild Robot the score and flow for international, but with Janet Yang as the president, past 2 years non-animated got any additional nominations or nominated outside their own category. So it might be 3 for 3 with no love for animation.
I don't see that happening. I have to be wishful thinking on this one.
Speaking of animated short, remember last year Once Upon a Studio didn't make it.
Nor should it have.
Well, as Bryce says, it did get an Emmy nomination because, the TV airing. Bakarikor were noting, don't know if this will be seen. Don't worry, it will be. A lot of films going into the next few years from 2026 on are actually going to have different versions if you see it in IMAX versus regular.
Weirdly enough, looking into Greta's Narnia movie, that's something that I was reading about today, that she's making a deal with IMAX to distribute Narnia in that format specifically. And there's been a lot of re-releases in IMAX recently, like the Interstellar has been re-released in IMAX only, and The Brutalist looks like something that just begs for an IMAX screen.
Is Gerwig doing something else, or is she doing The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
The verbiage is like something that's very rock and roll,
Yeah,
Don't know what that exactly means, but I know that it intrigues me intensely because Narnia is kind of iffy with me, but I'm curious to see what she's going to do with it. It might be something completely different.
If she's doing specific stories, I just wanted to take bets on if Chalamet's going to be her Tumnus.
That sounds logical, honestly.
Bryce
Oh.
says the only place we know for a fact that Denzel won't make it is what else but the BAFTAs.
Of course.
I have
Yeah.
Samuel L. to be the one random nomination at SAG that stays at SAG and goes nowhere else.
That could be possible.
Yeah.
Jackson has a lot of love with the actors branch, so I could see that being something that could be logical.
Alfonso Espina says, can I please mention this because it's annoying me that every time people call it lip syncing, Jolie was singing live when they filmed it, but the post-production mixed her voice with calluses.
Yeah, I'd heard. I knew it was some kind of. I didn't know exactly what it was, but yeah.
And I wonder why the people who keep bringing up lip syncing had no problem with Marion Cotillard and La Vie en Rose. Bryce says, do I know when the date for the long list is? Yeah, January 3rd. So it's pretty much straight after the New Year on the Friday. Hey voters, why not put Kieran Culkin in the right category for leading to at least give some more candidates for the category?
He's somebody that could break into that 5 if it was a thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's one where it's. I don't think he'd have a problem getting in if they did that, but unfortunately they're probably not going to do that.
Say goodbye to your Oscar nomination, Daniel Craig, if that happened.
Alfonso adding as well, maybe the biggest surprise this season is Denzel maybe getting recognised at BAFTA.
That would genuinely be shocking. And amazing and shocking.
And then Bryce says, right now on Oscar nods versus PGA nods, the Oscars, he has Nickelboy, Sing Sing and Substance in the Oscars, with PGA going instead with Challengers Complete Unknown and Gladiator 2 as Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
It's weird because I can't see the Substance missing PGA.
When is PGA again? Do we know this?
PGA noms are, scroll down.
Yay, thank you for having the calendar, Ashley. We
January
appreciate
10th.
it. Oh, dear
So
God.
it's the last of the 4.
Mm-hmm.
DGA's is I think 7th for documentary, 8th for feature and first time feature. 8th for SAG as well. 9th for the WGA's, and then the PGA's is the 10th.
Well, at least we can do a guild video a little bit more like together this time around since everything's so close.
Yeah. Well, that's just looking. Yeah, but then weirdly, DGA and PGA on the 8th of February, then WGA is on the 15th, and then for once, SAG's actually the latest at February 23rd. SAG is the last of the 4. Yeah, the BAFTAs are before SAGs, for a change.
Wow.
I don't know what happened there. That's probably that's one of the longest turnaround times, because if the nominations are January 8th, that's 6 weeks. Whereas BAFTA's a month. Oscars is 6 weeks, so I guess that's the equivalent. Oh, the guilds at the same time as the spirits. It's going to be a bumper ass fucking video there.
Yeah, there's lots of content, guys.
Josie also mentions, I'm really curious when Brutalist's rating will finally be finalised. There was some debate about whether it would be R or NC-17. The fact that it's borderline NC-17 gets me excited. There's some people considering the extent of what happens in Nosferatu, wondering why that isn't NC-17 rather than R. Apparently, it makes poor things look somewhat normal. But then, because it's Robert Eggers, I'm not surprised.
I will know on the 27th.
So yeah, it's Josie's brief game, which will sadly, I don't want to rush through it, Josie, because of the time and everything, just because I want to get it out the way, because this is something that we didn't do last week because that went long and whatever. So it's Mr. Melancholy versus a load of characters from 2024. So how would Melancholy fare against the Wild Robot?
Owen.
Oh, fun.
Did we get much of a vibe of what Mr. Melancholy does?
No, but I think the Wild Robot's too nice. And I feel like that would be their undoing.
I feel like Mr. Melancholy was just in the sky looking sinister. I can't remember if he did anything.
He is the all-seeing, all-knowing. He does everything.
So some of these might make more sense and whatever.
Sure.
Melancholy versus Elphaba.
At least Elphaba could actually reach Mr. Melancholy in the sky.
Yeah, she could play chicken with him, I guess.
And then the most interesting one, given the way you describe Melancholy's sort of visage, Melancholy versus the Wizard of Oz himself.
He's just a simple man.
I was gonna say the wizard can't really do shit.
Yeah.
The real him.
But I say he looks at a lot of stuff. He has a big face that's like in the sky, so it's kind of like Mr. Melancholy. And considering how you just said, I don't know what Mr. Melancholy does, it's a mirror match. It's going to be a staring contest between two, like whoever blinks loses.
Oh my god. Such a strange category.
Melancholy versus either Jesse or Kieran's characters in A Real Pain.
No, it's not either. It's a handicap match, according to the verbiage on Josie's question.
Well, I don't think Eisenberg would want to participate, and I think Benji's reckless enough. He could probably do some sort of damage if he was cornered.
Melancholy versus Paul Atreides.
Paul could take him.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good bet.
I mean, Paul's got a fucking army now.
Yes.
Melancholy versus Fade Ralpha.
Same deal.
Yeah.
Same with Paul. I mean, isn't the whole thing that Paul and Fade are pretty similar? Isn't that like their whole deal? just one significantly crazier than, kind of.
Melancholy versus Art the Clown.
I think it'd be a draw, honestly, because I really don't think that either one could kill the other. So I feel that it would be a stalemate. It would be like a Freddy versus Jason situation.
Well, I mean, if we're open to mention Terrifier 3 spoilers, I guess we're at a point now where Art could take him to hell. That seems like a victory for Art.
It's the whole Freddy versus Jason thing.
Josie also mentions Melancholy versus Sienna from the Terrifier films.
So if Melancholy can't beat Art, and Sienna's the only one that could foreseeably beat Art, I think that means that the whole you beat someone so you can't beat the other one kind of works out too.
Yeah.
Sienna's in a weird place because she's like basically a superhero, but she's like still pretty vulnerable a lot. I
think Melancholy could talk her into basically like doing his bidding.
I love how we're winging it with Melancholy. I don't know what the fuck he does.
He's one step away from being a Bond villain at this point. Where are we
Oh,
today?
that's why I was confused. The space had gone missing from the list. Melancholy versus Monstro from The Substance.
Oh, I don't.
Monster.
Monstrous is
That,
involved to anything.
it's,
So
it can't really do anything,
no,
and it's very emotionally vulnerable. It's in a really
it's an
bad
extremely
place.
bad place. But I think it would actually absorb Mr. Melancholy, and it would win in the end. What the hell are we doing here?
Melancholy versus Dementus.
I mean, he's just. That's Hemsworth and Furiosa, right?
I shoot
I think
didn't
so.
know that, so go ahead. That's how much that movie was important to me.
I don't think maybe not. I don't know.
I'll skip around because the last one she put is Melancholy versus Furiosa herself.
I mean, her and Dementus are only human.
Melancholy versus Flo the cat.
Is its name Flo? I don't think it had a name.
It had the name I think in the credits was Cat. That cat's pretty freaking resourceful.
I was gonna say if it beat Melancholy, it'd be totally by accident.
Yeah.
Melancholy versus Sight Unseen Nosferatu. And then the best one, epitomizing the statement you just said about 2 minutes ago, Owen. Mr. Melancholy versus Cardinal Lawrence from Conclave.
Demon Christmas.
I mean,
Well,
I feel he's got such a problem with his lack of faith and whatever.
What?
Even if he saw it as a sign of God, he'd be like, no.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I know there's people that haven't seen it. I'll try to be vague. Are we under the possibility? I mean, there was obviously an explanation, but Lawrence made a particular decision that caused divine intervention at one point.
And that's where Mr. Melancholy comes in.
I was gonna say, do we consider that a power that Lawrence has?
We don't know if Melancholy's a deity or not. He could be.
I don't know.
Wait,
We don't know what kind of magic powers Mr. Melancholy truly has.
I mean, in his own movie, he's a fictional character. So what do we... I know it sets up is he or isn't he, but I see that movie. I see that movie in a certain way.
I'm trying to work
Right.
out whether the divine intervention moment is him just saying, "Oh yeah, you're allowed in the conclave." Is that what you mean? Or the bit further on? 'Cause given the events and everything, it's sort of the divine intervention could be just, "Oh yeah, you're allowed."
We'll just forgive all wrongdoings possible. All right, we're gonna yes.
Send it home.
Yes. Well, that was intriguing and entertaining. We just waxed poetic about the existence of Mr. Melancholy against various things from 2024 movies. Thank you, Josie.
Oh, hang on, an additional one because of.
Oh, Katie O'Brien. From
Oh
Love
yeah,
Lies
yeah.
Bleed.
Sorry, I forgot that one. From Love's Lies Bleeding. No, Josie just added Melancholy versus Denzel's character in Gladiator 2.
I mean,
He owns your house. I'm going to continue to say.
I don't want to seem like I'm saying too much here, but I mean, Macron has fucking killed everybody. Like if he was on like a full-on killing spree, I would, even if I was a moon creature, I would duck for
He
cover.
is he is the reason the pink opaque does not exist anymore.
Honestly, I think the bow and arrow is all it would take.
Yeah, probably.
Simple as that.
As far as Kate O'Brien and Love Lies Bleeding, we're under the impression all of that was hallucinatory. She can't actually be a Jolly Green Giant, so I'm gonna say
If you know, you know.
I'm gonna say Melancholy could probably take her because she was really just unhinged.
Yeah,
I know it was the drugs, but you can de-jaw Dave Franco. Doesn't mean you can take out the
yeah.
Dave Franco's a little guy.
He's just a little guy. You just had to get me to say that to end the show.
I guess the first thing to say before Owen does the sort of outros and everything. Thanks for the consistent watches, guys, because
100%. Thank you.
you know we're sort of we're even verging on 8 now. What's going on? It was a quiet first hour of like freeze and whatever, but you know, getting up to double figures for most of the rest of it. I'm intrigued to see what it is when we actually get to the more serious stuff, when it actually comes to predicting and then reacting to the ceremonies, hopefully. But yeah,
Lots to come.
Owen, go ahead. Tentatively, I think So next week is your Christmas week off for us as well. We're probably watching movies to some extent, but in terms of live stream video stuff, the end of the year in 2 weeks.
Yep. So Ashley can be found on social media, on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. Depends on who you're talking to. That's going to be at Ash is my name UK. Mm-hmm. More gaming content coming probably after the first of the year. More Snack Stashes coming after the first of the year. More content coming. I just got the notification about this train game that I may see if Ashley wants to play. And yeah, we'll talk about that off camera. So
choo, motherfuckers.
Bingo. AJ finally watched If, so eventually there'll be a review coming.
I've still only watched half of If, but I'll get there.
It's fair.
I will get. My plan is to get there before Christmas.
Okay. Yeah. We've got more movie reviews, more verses, more AJ content coming after the first of the year, so get ready for that. I don't know what our consistency is going to be for content after the new year, but I'll try to get more content here. AJ cannot be found on social media, and apparently can be found usually watching movies in one way, shape, or form. So if you have any questions for him, just leave a comment, and we'll get to it eventually. We also have live shows we will do after the first of the year again, too, so get ready for those, too.
It's really only during award season I can get myself to watch consistently.
Accurate.
But so far, so good. I even watched Carry On, which is quite entertaining. But that's the Jason Bateman fan in me.
The big thing from that bit that I only saw the sort of clip of when somebody pointed it out, the bit where the woman and the baby are at check-in getting the bag checked and whatever. And then literally a second later, you see them cutting to, walking down the way to get on the plane. And the baby has lost all its hair and is a completely different baby and wearing completely different clothes. And the whole thing on whatever the TikTok is Netflix thought you wouldn't notice. So yeah, I'm going to pay attention to that. That whatever the hell glitch that happened in the Matrix.
So, I don't want to interrupt Ashley. So, once again, thanks everyone for joining us live, archive, commenting, not commenting. Thank you for tuning in tonight and spending some of your Tuesday evening Wednesday morning, whatever, where you are in the world right now, with us, just listening to us gab a little bit about Critics' Choice, the short lists, and all points in between. My content's coming back after the first of the year, too. Plenty of Voices videos. I get my final day of Voices of Liberty, surprise, surprise, this coming Saturday. I mean, I've got movies to watch, too. Full Christmas movies. Nosferatu, A Different Man. Take a shot. Nosferatu, Baby Girl, and A Complete Unknown. So that's all coming your way for me. And got a lot of content that's coming in the future. More Voices content, more Sippin' Snacks coming after the first year. I got a lot of stuff that's in the can that I haven't even shared you guys yet. So that's coming very soon. And that's going to be your show for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And as always, go watch a movie and always have the best day ever. And in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until next time, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.